Whoa, we're way off on the camera right there, but hey.
Centered here. Hang on a second. I'll fix that.
You gotta fix this, huh?
Yeah. The OCD is not.
There's no way he would
There's
allow
no.
Sure.
Sorry,
For
hang
sure.
on a second.
Well, that's fine. So we are at a new time. As you can tell, it's 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, more or less. And that comes with it, as James was talking about before we went live, the fact that I totally got the time wrong when it came to how early I needed to leave due to traffic in Southern California. So a general fact of life in SoCal is that you have to take into account how long traffic's going to take. And I haven't done the ride from my place to James's place at 4 o'clock in quite a while. So anyway, it took me longer than I expected. Next week, expect 5:30 p.m. right after Best of 5 ends. The reason that we have moved the show to this time is that there's a new show from Capcom called Capcom Connect, which is going to be at 8 p.m. Pacific time.
That's right.
So we had already talked in the past about moving our show to an earlier time. We didn't want to conflict with Marvel Lives, which happened at this time more or less for quite some time. They have now moved to only podcast form.
Right.
I highly suggest that you subscribe to that. They do a really good job, but they're not live on Twitch anymore. So now we can be at this time, and it's fine. Anyway.
Yep. So
that's the news when it comes to that.
Yep. And so basically, get used to us being earlier on, right after the Best of 5 shows. Of course, really glad that everybody from there is tuning in over here as well, and we'll support the Capcom Connect afterwards.
For sure.
So.
And so, along with us being at a new time, comes with a little bit of a different format. And in part, that's because of the shows that we're kind of sandwiched in between now. So we're going to have less time spent on individual tournament placings and results.
Right.
That's something that we've, you and I both like talking about that. We want to sort of give voice to the players who are doing well in the community. But Best of 5 already does an awesome job at that.
Right.
They have really fantastic recaps where they actually take the time to put the results on screen. They actually have slides that they make.
have a stream producer.
They actually do a good job.
They actually have somebody who's there who can actually do that.
Basically, Ace King Offsuit makes those, and then Elon, the guy who runs the stream, is everyone. Yeah. So anyway, check them out if that's what you are looking for. We're still going to talk about tournaments, but more in the sense of what were your favorite moments? What were some cool things that happened?
We're definitely going to talk about some of the results as well.
For sure. It's just we're not going to go through each and everything anymore.
Okay.
And since we're going to be right before Capcom's show, which we assume will be to discuss Street Fighter V and the like. We'll see. They haven't exactly said. We're not going to get into quite as much nitty-gritty when it comes to some of the individual news items. But again, we'll still talk about that stuff, just maybe not in quite the same detail, but more in the sense of discussions and,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously, look, we're going to start off, of course, with a topic that isn't the best news. And in fact, it's a pretty frustrating situation, I guess, for a lot of the FGC. Just a lot of people talking about this, and that was just that, of course, for anyone who's been paying attention at all to social media and such, recently some allegations about infiltration have come out on domestic abuse. He was married for a while. We've talked about that many times, how he had stopped playing for a while. He got married, and then apparently they got divorced just about a year later. And then just recently it came out now that there are allegations of domestic abuse, and that was probably the reason why the divorce happened so quickly. Right. And it's interesting because Infiltration's ex has a Twitter, right? And she really hasn't tweeted much about it except for one time, which was just basically about a civil court case and now working on compensation kind of thing. And there's no really reference to that, but this all just came from an anonymous post on Reddit, basically talking about all the allegations of transcripts. Apparently, Infiltration's ex recorded, a period of time when he was physically violent with her.
Allegedly, on numerous occasions.
Right, and she recorded one session, and in Korean court, you're not allowed to submit audio evidence.
Every court system has its weird things like that. There are some things that U.S. courts don't accept either. Audio is not one of them, of course, but that's not that sounds weirder than I think it actually is. It just means that you have to transcribe.
Right. Yeah.
So there are alleged transcripts of what occurred, and those are harrowing. I mean, I don't know that anybody wants to read them if you haven't yet. They're horrible. Right. Absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
Sadistic. And anyway, you're continue. You're doing a good job.
No. So basically, at this situation here, there's a lot of kind of, I guess, evidence pointing towards these allegations being true. For one thing, if what the information that we're getting from this anonymous user is correct. Like, domestic abuse in Korea is an interesting situation because there's also this defamation problem. Like bringing this up is already a crime. Because it's defamation of character, right?
Defamation in Korea works differently than it does in many other countries where truth is an absolute defense. So if somebody says that you have defamed them, as long as what you said was true, you cannot be found to have defamed. That's just an absolute defense. If it's true, no defamation. But at least in the U.S., similar for other countries too. In Korea, it works very differently, where the issue is not so much truth, it's the damage that's done.
Okay.
So if you have sort of damaged somebody in some significant way, the reputation, then that can be grounds for defamation. And the penalties can be worse. They can be criminal rather than just civil. That is to say, you can go to jail instead of just being fined. So it works quite differently than in many other countries. One of the results of that is that people who have power can much more easily shut down criticism. And one way that manifests is that people who have committed domestic violence and other sort of sexual violence, even if the person who sort of talks about what they did is telling the truth, still there can be a defamation lawsuit. So there is actually a consideration in the Korean government to change that law. There's a bill that's being introduced. So I don't know that that'll last forever, but that is and has been the situation.
Right. And so what we're getting a situation is here, if she's actually going through with these allegations and everything like that, she's putting herself at a huge amount of risk for this. But not only that, but domestic violence charges are very, very well. One, rarely come to light because of these defamation problems, and two, they hardly ever win, right? And according to the anonymous poster on Reddit, she actually won the first trial. That they are charging him with domestic abuse, and now they're just trying to figure out the fines or the compensation or what to do to make up for it. Now,
well, in the U.S. and many other countries, something like domestic violence would be criminal. That is to say, you can go to jail for it. In Korea, it's civil, so it's the opposite, right? So you can get fined, and it's not typically the case that you can go to jail for it. So the outcome is very different than it would be in many other countries.
Right. So the situation right now is that, according to the anonymous Reddit poster again, that, he has been charged, things are happening here. Panda Global, who is Infiltration sponsor, is looking into it. They've said that they're going to look into it and act accordingly. Yeah. He was also, he took himself out of the Tokyo Game Show tournament that he traveled to Japan for. Also, according to the poster, was he was supposed to go to court that weekend, but he chose to go to Tokyo Game Show and let his lawyers take care of everything over there.
That was the allegation. Panda Global's CEO, Samurai Panda, said that that was a mutual decision for him to not play in TGS. So it doesn't seem like it's the case that he just voluntarily took himself out, or at least according to that statement, that PG banned him from competing.
Right.
So anyway, anything else in the summary?
Well, the only thing that I wanted to add was. Shoot, I was going to say something, but go ahead. Just go ahead, and I'm sure it'll come up again once I get to it.
So, I want to preface it all by maintaining that these are allegations from our perspective.
Yeah, that's actually what I...
It may be that they're true, but as PG said in their statement, and lots of other people have mentioned, there is a barrier that many of us have to accessing verification for this. And that is to say that it's in the Korean legal system, which of course is in Korean, which I don't speak, and many of us don't speak. And then it also seems that there are limitations to access information about the Korean justice system, paywalls, browser plugins, like things that you need to do to get more information about stuff. So there are sort of like screenshots of some things. There are transcripts of some things that I don't think is enough for me to say definitively that it did or didn't happen. I also want to take pains to say that I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just want to know for sure.
Right, exactly.
It's a very serious thing. Again, that transcript is just disgusting. But so I want to make sure that it is real. So that needs to be at the front of it, right? That needs we need to preface all the discussion with that.
And also another thing too is, as I keep hinting at, it's all coming from an anonymous Reddit poster, right? So that's always it hurts the credibility of the source, right? Coming out in that situation. But then it also, at the same time, maybe the person doesn't want to reveal themselves or something like that, So,
clearly not.
We can't take these allegations lightly, though. That's the
absolutely
thing.
not.
That's
and I think that on the balance, from what I've heard and read, it seems to me unlikely that it's totally made up.
Right.
Just from what has been said so far, the fact that PG is taking it so seriously, the fact that Infiltration didn't play at TGS this past weekend,
and he hasn't had a public statement.
He hasn't discussed it, right? So all of that stuff sort of makes me think that it's credible. I just want to take pains to point out that I don't know that for sure.
Right. Now, a couple of things that are to add on to that. I've seen a lot of people already talk about that. Oh, I've met Infiltration in person. He seems really nice. He seems really friendly. And he is. He's a funny guy and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But that does not mean that he's incapable of such kind of thing. I mean, look, the news just came out today, right? Bill Cosby has been sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison, right, for drugging women and basically, basically raping them,
Indeed.
right? And he's the creator of one of the greatest TV shows of all time, one of the most wholesome shows, etc. He seems like the nicest guy, etc., etc. You can't go on that. You can't go based on that information. You can't go based off of your own personal experiences with someone or how they appear on stream.
Right.
Everybody has dark sides, and just because he seems nice and everything that's not qualification to say, hey, he's not capable of doing something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, that is another thing too, is we don't want to fall into that trap again where the woman comes out and says this happens and everybody's like, oh, but he's a nice guy. I can't, what did she do to you? You know what I mean? What did she, maybe she provoked it. We don't want to go down that route. We want to make sure that we give absolute credence and credibility to the claims here, because that's just been a problem for years and years.
Yeah, and the stats are that women very, very, very rarely lie about sexual assault. So anyway, that's
not only that, but they never come out. They never talk about it because it's so hard for them to have people believe them. You know what I mean? There's always just every time they come out, everyone discredits them, or then there's smear campaigns and all
terribly
sorts of
underreported.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely right. So yeah, that's it. That's sort of I think the summary of it, a background of it. It's terrible news. I met his wife. She seemed nice, but so it sucks. It's sort of a personal aspect. Yeah, absolutely. She seems so nice. But by the way, I do want to also say that you bring up the sort of how women tend not to report. I've seen some people say that they think that she is the kind of person to lie about it, or that she's the kind of person to make it up. That is, you can't fall into that. That's too common of a trope. It's a too common response to these things, and very rarely accurate. Right. Very rarely accurate. So please don't give into that stuff. We have to evaluate based on what we find, but please don't say either, oh, Infiltration seems so nice, no way, or she seems like she would lie about it. Right. No way. Yeah. Neither one. Those are two standard roads that people go down. But those aren't things that I've seen people say in public. Those are things that I've seen in private. And I just want to say publicly that if you are also seeing that in private, it's not cool. Yeah.
And then another thing too to add to this, and again, as we said, we're going to have to just wait till everything plays out to see whether allegations come true or not, right? Doesn't mean that we can't talk about the situation if it does turn out to be true. And I did this on social media. I 100%, if it turns out to be true, 100% infiltration needs to be banned from the CPT and from pretty much.
Okay, yeah, this is
any game probably that he if he's like, oh, I'm banned from CPT, I'm going to go play IPS.
Right.
Well, I mean,
I'm not going to be cool with that
either.
Yeah. No, yeah. Okay, this is something that obviously we have to discuss, and if it ends up being that this is all made up, I think is unlikely. But if so, apologies. Obviously, we'll get to that when we
But absolutely.
But
again, this has nothing. This is not us attacking info. This is like if someone has caused domestic abuse and are that are that much of a bad person that they could do that to a significant other or to their wife or anything, then this is the same result we would apply to anyone.
I like to think that that's true. Certainly, he does need to be banned. Mm-hmm. There's nothing else to be said on that front. I feel like that is a pretty standard feeling from what I've seen among people, like both publicly and privately. It is so much worse than things that we've seen other people do. People have been discussing what happened with Noel Brown, where he seemed like he was groping somebody on camera, right? Bad news, he got banned. For sure bad. This is another level. It's absolutely horrible. So, if true. So, yeah, for sure a ban. An important aspect of the sort of justice system to me is not just punishment, but helping people to reform. Mm-hmm. So it's important to me on a sort of philosophical level that people be able to reform and get a second chance.
Yes.
I don't know that I'm prepared to talk about how long I think that would take, because I think this is something that is gross enough to me that if there's a second chance, it's not anytime soon.
Right.
Not anytime soon. It's a long time off. For sure.
And it will take a long time. If you're capable of what was in that transcript, it's not going to be like, hey, a year later, here I'm back again. And again, I apologize to everyone because I kind of almost made it sound like that's how I felt like what was going to happen in a tweet that I had written really, really quickly, and I apologize about that. I deleted it, but I'm not denying it. I even quoted my own tweet, talking about it afterwards and everything like that. I just made because I was saying like, oh, if he managed to come back in a year and he's better, then, I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to punch him or attack him or anything like that. But obviously I'm making light of it because it's going to take way more than a year. And, the wording I chose about like getting better was terrible. Because in my original tweet, I said the only way he could come back is if he had full, trustable psychological evaluation and, all this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, it's, again, since it's a civil issue in Korea, it's not like here or in other countries where the penalty may be not just jail time, but that you have to see a therapist or whatever, that there are sort of criminal penalties for it. It's a fine, which carries very different and much lighter in terms of your personal cost than criminal time. So I don't think it's the kind of thing where like don't expect the Korean government to say, hey buddy, you got to get therapy.
Right. No. It's not going to happen.
Right. If that's going to occur, it's going to be due to, maybe Panda Global says, hey, if you want to come back in 5 years, you have to have therapy or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. But I'm just saying, don't expect that will happen when it comes to the Korean legal system.
Right. So here's the other thing too is that I know a lot of people are saying like this has nothing to do with the CPT, why ban him from the CPT and everything like that. I mean, it's just you don't want this kind of thing proliferated, and we don't want to give a spotlight to a person who is capable of such a thing, right? What if Infiltration wins Capcom Pro Tour this year? You know what I mean? It's like, here's $250,000 someone who, we found out is capable of horrible domestic violence.
Yeah, look, I mean, so there's two aspects here. One is the community aspect, where I think many of us just don't want to be around somebody who has done that.
Right.
I would not feel comfortable doing that, for example. I'm sure many people agree.
Yeah, I mean, if we were doing commentary, I don't even know what I would say.
That would be tough, for sure. So there's the community side of things. The other side is the more PR side of things. This is to say, external. So maybe internal is the community aspect. Externally, we don't want the PR of, hey, our best player, or certainly one of the best players in the world, is this guy who has done these horrible things. That's not going to help in any sense. Regardless of what your goal is for the FGC, whether you want it to be big esports or whether you want it to not be, that's going to be bad for all of those things, right? Whatever your goal is. So it's bad PR, and nobody will want to be involved in it. I haven't. Panda Global's not a client of mine, but other teams are, and I've been writing player team contracts since 2011, and they all have what are called morality clauses. A morality clause says that the other party can terminate the agreement if you commit something that is, sort of nebulously defined, immoral or casts negative light onto the other party, or makes it so that you are not valuable to them anymore, right? Something that's gross enough that nobody wants to be involved with you. That is a cause for termination of the agreement. I'd be flabbergasted if Panda Global did not also have that in their agreement. It's just so standard. If this is found out to be verified, gotta think he is dropped for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And very hard to imagine that another team would pick him up anytime soon. Not even anytime soon. I mean, I don't know how long it'll take. Like I said before, I don't know that I'm even prepared to sort of think about how many years that would take.
Right.
A while, long time. So legally, that's not good news for him. When it comes to the CPT or any other Pro Tour, they all make sure in their bylaws that they can ban whoever they want. Right? They all keep it so that they can do that for basically any reason.
Right.
So yeah, very little to stand on for him when it comes to the legal side of things.
Right, and it's going to obviously come down to each of the individual leagues as well, because there is no overall FGC governing body. We don't have an NFL commissioners or whatever like that going on for the entire of the fighting game community. So, there is very much a possibility that, hey, CPT bans him, but then Dragon Ball Fighters doesn't really say anything, and so he starts entering Dragon Ball tournaments. Right. But then Dragon Ball World Tour can then just be like, no, you're banned. It would have to happen at individual basis, and honestly, it would also have to happen on individual tournament levels. If you're not part of the CPT, if you're just your own event, it's up to them to see if they want to ban Infiltration or not. If they agree with the people out there that that has nothing to do with the FGC, so he can come and play. That's more power to the TOs, but I just the people there. It's going to be weird, like the interactions, and if I was Infiltration, I wouldn't even go to one of those events. You know what I mean? Like
and this is it's not even like in sports where if somebody who is banned from, let's say, baseball can't play in the MLB anymore, they can still play baseball elsewhere. Like they could go to a baseball. They could go to like a celebrity baseball gig or whatever. Like it's still, there's nobody who owns baseball who can ban them from baseball.
Right. Exactly.
Whereas when it comes to a video game, definitely that is the case. The rights holder can ban anybody they want to from playing their game. They can be totally capricious about it. There's no requirement that they be in any sense uniform when it comes to their decisions on that.
Right.
So if they want to say, guess what, Infiltration, you can never stream our game again, you can never play our game publicly again, you can never make video content on our game again, they can do that. They can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
They probably can't prevent him from buying the game and playing it in his own home privately.
Right.
Probably not that. But when it comes to anything that is in any sense public, they can definitely shut that down. So he has, and this is, I guess, the case for all of us. There's no power on the part of an individual player. They can be completely banned by events, by leagues, by rights holders.
Right. And, I do want to address something. So someone, we talked about it a little bit, and someone said, oh, would you apologize to Infiltration if it turns out to be false and everything like that? I mean, look, I can't even imagine being in his position right now, but if I were accused of something like this and I was innocent, and everybody talked about it and was like, James Chen should be banned from everything, if it turns out to be true, and if I was proven innocent, I personally wouldn't hold it against anyone, because it's a discussion that needs to happen. You know what I mean? I'm in that position where I would understand it, and I would be like, no, I totally get it. You know what I mean? If they wanted to apologize to me, that's fine. You know, if they didn't apologize to me, I wouldn't hold against it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you and I have both been in situations, of course, obviously much different than this, but we've been in situations where we do things that are discussed by other people.
Right.
And sometimes we don't, like what they're saying, or they don't like that they're having the discussion, but understand that they can do that and sort of don't hold that against them forever. That's just something that happens when you become a relatively public figure. Right. You have to accept that.
Yeah, and again, we're not sitting here with pitchforks or anything like that saying ban infiltration, ban infiltration. No, we're just saying that if the allegations are true, then the precedent is that any person, including infiltration, should be banned in this kind of situation. And it's really, really important to say that it doesn't matter if you're infiltration or guy we don't know kind of thing. It doesn't matter where you are in the standings of CPT. It doesn't matter how much success you've had in the past or anything. If this happened to Tokido, I would be saying the same thing about Tokido. Tokido is one of my favorite players of all time. If PR Balrog is one of my favorite players of all time. If something came out from him like this, I would be asking for the exact same thing.
Infiltration is one of my favorite players of all time, but that's not the issue here, and you have to be able to see past that. You have to be able to see that they're people, and not sort of somebody on a show, some character in a show. It is not like that. They're just people, and they're complex, and some of them have terrible things. So don't because you're a fan of their gameplay, that doesn't mean, in fact, it means that you should not support them if they do something terrible.
Right.
Again, and people are talking about this, saying that he already lost the preliminary hearing. That's what is alleged. And I don't have enough information at all to dispute it or to confirm it. The issue is only that I want to be sure. I think that I so far feel that the allegations seem credible. But I can't say anything more than that they seem without being more sure. Right. Panda Global said that they're going to be doing a full investigation. I hope, and they said that they'll hope to get that information out by the end of this week. So hopefully we'll have more information relatively soon. Either way.
Right. There was a couple of things that got mentioned here that I wanted to address, and I don't remember what it was that they were saying. Shoot. Okay, yeah, I can't remember. I saw something in the chat that I wanted to address, and I can't remember what it was anymore.
Look, here, I guess Kuroda is a relevant example. Yeah, one of my favorite players of all time, for sure. A guy who I modeled my FGC career after, because I played Q for half a decade, but that's a totally separate question compared to what he did not too long ago with respect to an underage girl. And whatever fondness I have for him due to his gameplay is totally out the window.
Right.
Totally out the window.
Yep. And again, this is not a great situation here. This is not a fun thing to talk about. But again, it's just about what we want to represent with the fighting game community. You know what I mean? And the kind of players that we have in our community. So again, this is not any personal vendetta against anybody in particular, but if the allegations turn out to be true, obviously we don't want that kind of person in our community. That's just how I feel. Oh, okay, that's what it was. Is should we start doing crackdowns on everybody's past history and all that stuff like that? Well, that's impossible, right? We're not going to be able to do anything like that. We have to handle the allegations as they come, right? So if someone has done something terrible in the past and they show up, and we have no information about them, there's really nothing we can do, right? We're not going to go and sit there and do background checks on everybody. But if it does turn out and we have actual evidence that somebody did something really terrible, then we need to handle that situation. You know what I mean? If someone shows up and it turns out that, that they are capable of domestic abuse like this, then we absolutely should do something about it. You know what I mean? So we can't do a background check on everybody. That's just unrealistic. That's just this is the situation. So
yeah, all that I want from Panda Global, as Ashno Chris just said, is for them to get the documents that seem difficult for the rest of us to get. Again, we've seen screenshots and transcripts of purported Korean court cases, or a Korean court case. I want the verification of that is all. So it's not that I need Panda Global to do its own new investigation. I just want them to get whatever documentation is there, if it is there.
And Turtle Tomorrow asks if it's unreasonable for sponsors to do background checks. No, not at all. Not at all. If you're going to sponsor someone, then you probably should do a background check. So.
I mean, you're probably not going to get an FBI background investigation, but yeah, you got to look into them a little bit, of course. Yeah, of course. I don't think that this is something that we need to sort of categorically apply. Like I don't see that this is something that we need to apply to everybody in terms of background checks. More that when we hear about it, take the same equal action. Right. So we've gone quite some time without something like this, at least this degree of things happening. Of course, there are other things that have occurred, but all I want is that when those things do come out, that we treat them equally and that we treat them in a way that I hope at least is sort of befitting of what I want the FGC to be.
Right. I mean, that's also another thing too, because I mean, obviously, you're always going to play favorites one way or the other. People just generally do that, right? So if it's a player you don't like comes out with kind of these allegations, you're going to be like, oh, get rid of them now. And then when it's someone like Infiltration that a lot of people do look up to, then all of a sudden it becomes this kind of like confusing gray area. But
we did have this conversation about Noel when that occurred, and Noel was a buddy of both of us, and we had the conversation anyway. We did on this show have the talk, of course.
We talked about it. And we all said he should be banned.
Absolutely right.
He was banned for a year. So.
Absolutely right.
And again, the year wasn't something like we're like, yeah, it's just a year. That was a decision made by all the different groups, right? CPT banned him for a year. That was the conclusion that they came up with. When we said he should be banned, we didn't even say a length. We were just like, yeah, absolutely, something should happen. There should be repercussions. So,
anyway, very, very bad news. Very unfortunate news. Looking forward to getting more information about it, just to get verification one way or the other. That's all that we need at this point.
Yeah, and again, I know that usually when topics like this come up, the chat just becomes a big giant mess here, and hopefully everybody out there on the chat can just chill just a little bit, and not go at each other's throats and attack each other. It's an uncomfortable situation, but most important thing is that we talk about it. Right, I know it's not a comfortable situation, but it's something that we're going to have to talk about, and it's something that if we as a community want to be taken seriously about, we can't just throw a blind eye to it, not discuss it, and just pretend it didn't happen and be like, and just kind of walk off to the side. It is something that we really need to talk about. So hopefully, people in the chat can just chill a little bit right now. And
that said, I don't want to talk about the reasons why he may or may not have done it. I see somebody in the chat trying to bring that up. Right. That's not something I'm interested in at all. I don't think there's a reason to do those things. That just as a categorical blanket statement. The reason for that doesn't exist. So I don't want to have that conversation at all. At all.
Okay. Well, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about it. Probably should just move on just to see if we can get everybody in the chat to stop yelling at each other at this point in time. So, but thanks to some of the mods in the chat right now trying to keep things a little bit under control here and there. So, okay, I guess we can move on to a little bit more of the results topics here. I mean, this is a show about fighting games. We've had a ton of fighting games events. Actually, do you want to take a break before we start on this?
Sure.
Yeah, let's take a break. So let everybody relax just a little bit. And when we come back,
me too.
We're going to talk about some results. We haven't had a show for about 3 weeks now, right? So we haven't had a chance to talk about Dreamhack Montreal. We haven't had a chance to talk about SCR. And then, of course, this weekend, CEO Otaku, Tokyo Game Show, EGX, all sorts of stuff. So a lot of stuff coming after this break. We'll be right back, guys.
You got it. Bowser.
Wow, I can't believe you repeated that from the chat, dude. I know you're not happy about that.
No.
Nintendo did not actually validate it at all. It did not validate. That was actually a parody account. If you actually look at it, it doesn't say Nintendo America. It says Ninturdo America.
Did anybody think it was real?
So there were some people who thought it was real, I think. Yeah, I think there was actually some people thought it was real.
Man, yeah, there were some people I unfollowed on Twitter.
Just because of that?
Not just because of that. More like I was kind of just getting sick of having like pictures I didn't care about on my feed constantly. It was just
God.
So it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, it's not that big of a deal on its own. It's just, I was like,
Right.
I think that's about it. But like, come on, some dudes were mass retweeting. It was constant, absurd level constant.
Yes.
Absurd level.
That is definitely true. But yeah.
Dang.
That is, I don't even know how, I guess I was listening to the Best of Five guys, and I guess they said it started like from someone just drawing a comic about it or something
that's what
like
it was.
that.
Yeah.
Man. This is a weird timeline that we're in, man.
Ooh, good luck on the midterm.
Someone's taking a midterm?
Yep. Tap2GG says, got a hard as butts midterm tomorrow.
You know
Good luck.
You know what the worst thing about it is? My brother and I were just actually talking about this, too. Is that the education system in this country, man. Jeez.
Oh my God, are you guys old enough that you have that conversation now?
Yeah. Well, obviously, because my brother has kids,
I know.
right? So, we're all sitting there talking about it and everything like that. And the craziest thing about the whole entire thing is just like, I just feel like that there's something fundamentally wrong with the way education works as a whole, when every human on the planet, even once they're like 50 years old, still has nightmares about going to classes and like tests, and just like feels like I still get those dreams all the time.
Dang.
All the time. Like, oh my God, I'm going to this class and I haven't gone to any of the things, like, am I just going to skip the final? What's going to happen? How's this going to work?
Yeah.
Did I do enough in the first half of the year to just get like by with a C or something? And then of course my brain then goes into the weird logic realm of, wait, but I've graduated already.
Yeah.
So how did I make it through this?
Like, that you're dreaming, kind of? Is that what it is? Or?
It's not even that. It's just like, I know I've graduated because I know I've had experience like being at works and stuff like that, right? So then I'm just like, so how did I make it through this weekend? There's no way I could have taken this test and not failed. But I guess it happens, so how does that work, Dude, everybody has that dream, man. Everybody has
For
that
me,
dream.
the dream of I didn't go to class all semester or do any of the homework, how am I going to do on the final? It's not a dream, it's a memory.
Oh my God.
That occurred.
So how did that go?
Oh, I got an A.
Did you really?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Well, I was basically so full of myself that one semester I was like, what if I just didn't go to a class at all? How would I do? And I got an A.
Okay, that had to have been like some sort of like jazz theory kind of...
Oh, I just wrote a good paper, that's all.
God.
That, yeah. Anyway, that happened. You wanna come back from the...
Oh, man. It was funny because, there were definitely classes at UCLA that were those easy A classes, right? So you took these classes specifically just because you didn't have to do that much work and you would get an A easily in those classes. And I took those classes, and it was like jazz theory and stuff like that. And I went to like every class. I was like super into it and everything like that. So I even worked super hard on my easy A classes, man.
It's true. I don't even know if that's called that was a humble brag. I think that's just straight up brag. However, having basically a full undergrad and high school and part law school career of that kind of stuff occurring made it so that I didn't think that I needed to work at all, which had very negative consequences for me when it came to actually working. So it definitely came back to bite me major.
Okay.
And I kind of wish in retrospect that I hadn't gotten accustomed to it. But for those years, it's ice skating, basically.
Okay.
All right, let's come back.
All right.
So we have been gone for a few weeks. That's mostly my bad. I haven't been around for the last couple of weekends, or Tuesdays shows, I guess it is. So might be.
Yeah, I mean, but that's you have
definitely a good
personal issues and personal matters to attend to and everything
Correct.
like that. So, and in case people are wondering why we are on so early, if you just tuned in, Capcom Connect is going to be a brand new show starting this week at 8 p.m. And Best of 5 show runs from 4 to 5:30 our time. And so we decided to nuzzle ourselves right in between them. So we're going to be taking up the 5:30 to 8 p.m. time slot to do the Tuesday show. So you're just going to have Talkie Tuesdays going from 4 p.m. to whatever time that they end.
Yeah, I don't even know how long the show is.
Yeah, and it's going to be taking place at the Esports Arena in Oakland. So they're broadcasting live from there. So there you go.
Pretty cool. Looking forward to it.
Yep.
So, again, since we haven't been here for a few weeks, we haven't discussed tournament results. However, since, as I said earlier, we're letting Best of 5 do the individual placings, we're not going to necessarily talk about everything that occurred. But yeah, we definitely still want to talk about events, of course.
Right.
And one thing that did occur, I guess the first one we're going to talk about chronologically is Dreamhack.
Yes, Dreamhack Montreal took place in, obviously, Montreal, Quebec, in Canada. That was a premier event for Street Fighter V and took place at, I don't even know what the entire festival was called there. Was it just Dreamhack Montreal, right? That's just all it was. Yeah. Okay. So it was just Dreamhack Montreal. Yeah. Had all sorts of games there. It's Smash Brothers and, all the other standard esportsy things.
But, so yeah, they had, it was, what was it, Rainbow Six, Smash, Melee and Smash 4, StarCraft, but then there was also Shadowverse.
That's right.
And you know who was commentating Shadowverse, who I didn't even know was at the event until the end of the last day, was 2D Jazz.
A.K.A. Majin Obama, yes.
He was there to commentate. He flew from Japan to Montreal just to commentate Shadowverse.
And I feel like since he was there to commentate Shadowverse, he probably got like more than all of the Capcom. Anyways,
I definitely think so. And he was all dolled up in his esports jacket.
Yeah,
I mean, he was. Yeah.
Were you the one that took the glorious picture of him? No, I think it was Sajam. Yeah. Took a picture of while he was commentating, and Majin Obama like shot him a dirty look, and so the picture is just the dirty look. It's great.
Anyway, I thought that was funny, unexpected, but I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
The event was nice. I mean, I'd never been to Montreal before.
Yeah.
I had a blast in Montreal.
Dude,
the city I thought was great.
I'll tell you one thing, because Montreal, Quebec is very, very much. It is French, right? I mean,
you're in a foreign country, buddy.
Yeah, like that one is like when you're in the other areas of Canada, it just feels like you're in another part of the United States.
You're in Calgary. You could be anywhere in the U.S.
And so when we went to Quebec, I'll tell you, man, half the time I was there, I kept thinking we were in France. Like parts of my brain were like, we got to fly all the way back from Europe. And I was like, no, wait, we're just in Canada, and it was really, it was interesting. So.
Yeah, and I mean, there's less English there than there is in Paris, at least in the touristy parts of Paris. So yeah, I thought that, anyway, that was very interesting. The architecture of the old buildings, fascinating. The culture, the food culture, I was like surprised about and very interested in because it seems like it's so influenced by Jewish culture. I had no expectation of.
That's right.
Until we were ranting about bagels like a couple of months ago, and I was like, New York has the best bagels. I wouldn't like to say that because I'm from LA, but
Right.
they do. And somebody was like, what about Montreal? And I was like, what do you mean, what about Montreal?
I know. When has Montreal bagels been a part of this conversation, right? Yeah.
But no, they're all big about it. And like when you go there and you're walking out of the airport has on the wall like scenes of Montreal. Here's what Montreal hockey. This is what it's known for. Like whatever else. I don't know, poutine. And then you have people with bagels. That's like one of the things that they're known for. So everybody was like, you got to try Montreal bagels.
So there was the three things: Montreal bagels, the smoked meat,
which also Jewish food. It was pastrami. It was
right.
beef.
Yeah.
It was at Schwartz's Deli.
Yeah, and then of course poutine, right? So those are the three things that they kept laying claim to fame in Montreal.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious and very unexpected for me. Just being ignorant about it, that Jewish cuisine would play such a big part. But I thought that was fascinating. The bagels, I would say, were just too different for me.
Yeah.
Just too different. Like,
they were very doughy.
Doughier, very little salt, maybe no salt, a little sweeter. So just so different.
And they were obsessed with sesame bagels.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, that's what I like anyway, but I know that you don't.
I'm not as much of a sesame bagel.
So I was going to get half a dozen bagels for James and a couple other dudes. And I just walked up and I was like, I'll take half a dozen, please. And before I could say, typically when you do that, the person is like, okay, which ones?
Right.
This dude just grabbed me 6 sesame bagels and I was out the door. And like it was a long line.
Because of course everybody wants the sesame bagels. Right, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, they were fine, just so different. I feel like it's like somebody who's used to New York pizza trying Chicago pizza and being like, what is this?
Right.
It doesn't taste bad. It's just like, what are you talking about? You know. So anyway, and Schwartz's was good. So I liked the city a lot. It was walkable. I have a lot of positive things to say about it. I'd love to go back. The event itself was in the Olympic Stadium, which was pretty cool.
Right.
Pretty nifty looking.
It was weird though, because like literally the event takes place in like the floor, like where they would play the sport or do the gymnastics or whatever like that.
Play
right?
the sport.
Play the sport, exactly. I figured I wasn't going to get away with that one. But, where they play the sport, the sport. But the weird part is they had all the monitors facing outwards. So even though everyone's on the inside, all the monitors are facing outwards and people sat in the stadiums to watch. Yeah. So it was weird when you were sitting inside, you couldn't see anything. Yeah. It was really awkward. I don't know. The whole thing was kind of weird. So
it was. I mean, I guess you could, but like there weren't any seats for you to sit, right? Like you could actually see both sides of it. There just weren't any seats for you. Right. It was a weird arrangement. I will agree with that. But it was cool to see people in the area, and that area certainly has a lot of strong players. So
yeah,
it was cool. It's a good place to have a big major.
And really cool results as well. Obviously, Justin Wong taking that one, right?
Yeah, that was his very first Street Fighter V Premier win.
Yep, which is crazy. I mean, he's gotten top 3 before in the past, or even grand finals, but that was the first Premier that he has won in Street Fighter V. So good job to him.
I thought that was pretty wild. Knuckle Dew got 2nd place. Problem X got 3rd place. Not that many players from East Asia came, to be honest. Let's see, we got Bonchan, Mago, Xiaohai, Momochi, Haitani, Moke.
I mean,
that actually is a lot. John Takeuchi also got 13th.
Yeah.
Never mind, that actually is a pretty good number.
I'm actually going to say, though, I'm actually really proud of CJ Truth, because he had just finished the last episode we had just come back from First Attack, where he got 2nd place to Smug, and then top 8 again here, so in 7th place with Cammy. Yeah, of course, that's always like, oh, yay, Cammy. But, but I mean, he's doing really well in the circuit as well. He's probably not going to get to the point where he could make it into CPT at this point.
Yeah,
it's probably too late, but I think it's going to be cool to watch out for him next year. So... But you know what the best thing about this win for Justin was? Is that all of us have been watching Justin play Manat, right? And all of us have said, if he just even learned just a little bit more trickery with the orbs, just a little bit, like he would be that much more effective. And you could see the practice that he had for Evo pay off at that tournament, because there were a lot of rounds where he was not going to make the comeback if he had played the way that he had played before Evo. But then he had the mix-ups like walk-up drill into the orbs and stuff like that. So he had learned, enough to get him to
not
that
like
point.
the wild stuff, not the maximum stuff, but enough.
It's crazy too because like I was like, okay, he's getting closer to Sacco, and then like Sacco wins another tournament. We'll get to that later, and like Sacco's level just like went way higher, and I'm just like, what is even happening here, dude? That guy is
They
nuts.
shouldn't have buffed that character.
Yeah, but honestly, I was really proud of Justin, though. I thought he did a really good job. You know, obviously, I'm always kind of rooting for him, and secretly, not so secretly.
For sure.
But,
Same.
I'm always happy for him. So
Yeah, he's got a good character for himself. It fits him really well.
That weekend, was that also the same weekend as the Hong Kong one, or no? Those are the weekends before that, I think, the Hong Kong one.
I think that's true.
Yeah, we talked about that because we talked about
it,
Shanghai and all that stuff like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Turkey was Swiss. I'm actually planning to go to Cantor's Deli after this.
Really? Oh, dang, that's cool. That's good. I will say one thing, though. Between the poutine, the bagels, and the smoked meat, I definitely like the smoked meat the best. Like, I thought that was pretty good. But then again, I'm a fan of pastrami, right? So it's just basically pastrami. Although I did get the poutine with smoked meat.
Okay.
And I think that was a little OD, to be honest
too
with
much?
you. I think it was too much. Because the thing is, the gravy's already kind of salty. You're eating fries, and then you're eating smoked meat with salt. So when I only ate half of mine, you remember, because I just felt like I was just shoving salt into my mouth in a lot of ways.
Man.
And I was like... I was looking at the person across from me. They had like poutine with like corn and like all that, and I was just like, man, I totally should have got something to offset the gravy a little bit. But oh man, the one that I was eating was like super, super salty. So
I got the vegetarian one.
Yeah,
It's actually super good.
Yeah, see, I can imagine that probably would have turned out a lot better. Like I should have got my poutine with maybe like chicken. Like white meat, you know what I mean? Just to kind of balance out the flavor a little bit. But it was just like super smoky salt meat and super... Plus I had eaten like so much during the course of that weekend. It was ridiculous, dude. So by the time I got to the poutine, I just was not feeling it anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a good weekend. Had a lot of fun.
Okay.
Then the following weekend was Southern California Regionals.
Yeah, and to start off... I know we talked about it a lot in the last episode about the metal detectors and unscrewing the joysticks and all that stuff like that. So they actually took an extra step. They hired metal detectors, and no one had to unscrew their controllers.
Yeah, like the typical thing. It's a conveyor belt. You put your thing through.
TSA, basically.
Like TSA, but it's less than TSA. You didn't have to.
Yeah. Take off your shoes.
No, that stuff.
Yeah.
It was you put your stuff on the conveyor belt and then you walk through the arch. I don't know what these things are called. But it was really not that intrusive, gotta be honest. I mean, I was worried about it, as we discussed,
now,
but it wasn't bad in practice.
The thing about it is, it's like, oh, it's great and everything like that, but you talk to the guys who run SCR, that was a pretty penny that they had to spend for that. I mean, it was a lot of money that they had to spend for it. So honestly, if you guys can, give them the shout outs for doing that for everybody to make it easier for everybody and spending that much extra. And I'm not just talking like 4 digits here. I'm talking like it was like 5 digits, just to get that kind of thing going there. So, people always talk about TOs and tournament organizers, they make all this money and everything. You guys don't even realize how much that these guys have to spend to do a lot of these things. So, definitely give them credit for that kind of situation. So,
I mean, as we discussed last time, I feel like that stuff is basically security theater, where the effectiveness is more in convincing people who don't look into it super closely that they're safe, but they're not actually that much safer. So it's a show, but sometimes shows are valuable, I guess, for that exact reason. So, it's not something I'm a fan of, but they felt it was necessary. So.
Yep. But as for the results there, well, what did you think of the event overall, actually?
I was there for basically a day.
Oh, that's right. You weren't even there for most of the time. That's right.
I had to leave.
You didn't even get to do any commentary for anything.
I didn't. I was there. People were actually sending me texts like, hey, why aren't you commentating? They scheduled people to do backup in case somebody needs to take a dump or whatever, or doesn't show up.
Right.
There's always a backup there. So I was there doing backup role for the first day. I just wasn't scheduled to commentate.
Right.
The event, from my perspective, seemed fine. I just wasn't there long enough to really be able to tell you.
Dude, let me tell you, man. The Friday morning. No, it was Saturday. You were there on Friday a little bit, right? So Saturday morning. Friday. I believe that was when Jeremy was on commentary by himself for a big chunk of the beginning.
Was he?
So what happened was in the morning. So I stayed in the motel, right, and everything like that. And I was like, okay, I have to wake up and go. I didn't have to do commentary until like 2 p.m. or something like that. So I was like, whatever, I'm just going to chill, right? And then I get a call from Spencer, and he's like, hey, how far are you from the venue at like noon? And I'm like 5 minutes away. He's like, can you make it here? I'm like, what's going on? So apparently what happened was that Jeremy made it there on time. Tasty Steve was in an Uber, which got into a car accident.
Dang.
So he was scheduled to do the commentary, and so Steve couldn't leave because he had to be a witness.
No
So he was
way.
totally fine. So he was
I
there.
had no idea.
Yeah, and then Sajam was staying at home, so he was an hour away. So literally for like the first half hour of commentary, Jeremy was doing commentary by himself on the CPT stream until I like ran in there and then was like, okay, here we go, sat down and started doing commentary with him. So shout outs to Jeremy, by the way, because Jeremy held it down that whole weekend.
That he did a great job. He really did a great job. Yeah.
He got to do his first top 8 for Street Fighter V.
That was great. And I think he really did a good job.
Yeah,
I think that was some of his best that I've seen him do.
Yeah, the Alpha 3 stuff was really cool and everything. So the worst part was for me on Sunday, I had to go wake up and do the Alpha 3 thing. And I woke up. So you know the motel that we were in, right? You just remember very briefly,
Motel
right?
6.
Right? I woke up, walked outside, and they had tarred the entire parking lot, trapping all the cars.
What?
They tarred behind all the cars.
What did they just... They were
On
putting down
Sunday morning
asphalt?
at 10 a.m., they were putting down new asphalt in the parking lot, and they trapped all the cars in behind, like, they were just trapped in there.
I didn't even know what to say.
Dude, right? I walked out there and I just looked at all of them, and they were like, well, here, we'll just move the ropes and you just drive. I had to drive over wet tar to get my car out of there.
So you're spraying tar behind you, and the
Yes.
back of your car, it's getting all black.
Well, I mean, they were like doing the brush pushing all the tar like onto everything, so there wasn't like spraying everything, but like I literally had to drive over tar in my 3-month-old car, basically.
new car.
Yeah,
Wow.
and the worst part about it too is like, so I had to put all my stuff down to the side, including my Victrix stick. So I put it down on my bag and walked over to my car. And as I walked over to the bag, the Victrix stick, of course, fell.
No way!
And so it's like scratched up now and everything like that. And so,
Oh, God.
Dude, you don't understand. I walked into that venue. I was pissed.
I bet.
I was so pissed, dude. You guys have seen me on Tekken? No, you don't understand. I was mad.
That's wild. What a day.
I was so mad. I
What a
was
day.
like so angry. So, yeah, I do have a new car because my car got totaled like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and
wow.
I've been borrowing my parents' car for 2 years, and my parents were finally like, "Are you ever gonna buy a new car?" And I was like, "All right, I'll
Yeah,
do
it's a
that."
cool car.
So, yeah. But dude, I was
like it.
so mad, dude. I was so mad.
Understandable.
Yeah.
That definitely sucks. I did hear that they changed the brackets for
That's
Dragon Ball
right.
FighterZ.
For like a lot of games, I think.
Well, yeah, right. Yeah, I guess for a lot of games. I only heard about it in the DBFZ context, but I assume there were for other games too.
Right.
So, no.
So Chris G got kind of
Chris
screwed
G
for that.
and somebody else also who I thought would do well. They both showed up to their pool when they were previously scheduled to show up.
Like at noon, right? And
I think they were scheduled to show up at 2.
Oh, yeah.
And instead his pool started at noon.
someone
So
had
he missed
checked,
it.
and the brackets
Oh,
weren't
I think
changed.
it was Coach Steve. I think
And
you're
the
right.
brackets weren't changed at midnight the night before, because someone definitely reported that they checked the brackets before midnight, like right at midnight the night before, and it was normal. And then the next day, they found out they were moved to another pool. So even as recent as midnight, it got changed. As late as midnight, I should say. So that's not good. That is definitely not good. No, it's opposite. He was supposed to show up at 2, and it was changed to 12. That's why he got DQ'd.
Yeah, if he was supposed to be there, if he was there at 12, but he got moved to 2, then he's there and he plays, right?
Yeah, so obviously it wasn't super smooth sailing for the event.
That definitely.
you know.
I mean, look, just in general, I feel like that's something that should not be a practice anymore.
Yeah, and honestly, you should not. I mean, we got to stop doing last-second registration as
That's
well.
what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So.
Or do the death pool that I know is problematic in its own right, but not as problematic as that. Or certainly, if you're going to allow last-minute registrants, don't change the seeds in the pools, necessitating complete change in all the pools.
You just have to plant some people out there wherever they are, but you can't change at the last second. So, or just do a death pool. It's funny because NCR did a death pool, totally worked. That sucked for everybody in the death pool.
Yes,
so it worked so well the next year that the death pool was actually the best pool to get into because everyone registered early, and so nobody was in the death pool. So it was like, ooh.
Yeah. I mean, my take on it is that a death pool should feed into another actual pool.
Right, yeah.
You know, whatever. Anyway, that shouldn't happen anymore. But like I said, I wasn't at SCR most of Saturday and Sunday, so I don't know that I have much else to say.
I mean, I did enjoy it. I thought the event was really cool. I liked the way. So it was in the Ontario Convention Center, which it was 3 years ago, I believe it was, and I didn't like it then because it was like not in a good space, but this one was on a different area and everything. I thought they organized the room a lot better. It was brighter than the SCR was last year. For some reason, last year SCR was like a disco.
That's right, I remember that.
Right, yeah. So,
oh man, it was so loud.
And so, you know, I really did. I did enjoy SCR this year, but you know, I know a lot of people did not have some great experiences there and such. But I mean, even for example, on Sunday, after I did Alpha 3 commentary at 10 in the morning till 12. My next commentary block wasn't until Street Fighter 5 at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
I played like 5 hours of Tekken. Like
Sick.
4 to 5 hours of Tekken. I played with a bunch of people. I played with Forwood.
Good. Oh,
Forwood
cool.
just kicked my ass for a bunch of times. He's super good at the game. But he really helped set my philosophy on the game a lot more straight. And it was... Like, dude, Tekken is like the opposite fighting game. Like, it is seriously bizarro fighting game, and it's so weird because I did a whole...
Oh, hey, it's popping.
Oh, hang on a second. Okay, let's see if that's better. Forwood, the guy who runs DisplayLag.com, aka Adil. Let me know if if it sounds a little bit better now, or if it sounds exactly the same. Not better. Static, still back. Whoa, that's weird. So this is a different problem here. Well, now it's gone? Better now? I didn't do anything.
A good old streaming.
Dude, I hate this stuff, man. I hate this stuff. Okay, Forwood runs display lag and everything like that, but I did a whole first attack episode that was basically how to open up your opponent. That when you go and play a fighting game, your whole goal is to learn how to open up your opponent, right? And so based on the game, it's going to be different. So Street Fighter, of course, is really kind of meaty throw shimmy is the opening, is the core opening up, whereas games like Dragon Ball is going to be the high-low and the Dragon Rush, you know, left-right kind of things and all these different things. And whenever I got to Tekken in that first attack episode, I was like, well, the high-low is really, you know, dangerous and whatever like that, so you just open them up with high-low. And then I go and play Tekken and I talk to Forwood and I'm like, okay, so if you're blocking and you're teching all my throws, how do I open you up? And he's like, Tekken's not a game where you open people up. And I'm like, what? Like, how do you play a fighting game where you don't open people up, right? I was like, this just doesn't make any sense to me. And he was like, no, you don't open people up in Tekken. He's like, you just let people hang themselves. Like, you just have to play well enough that people just end up hanging themselves. It's not like a game where you try to set them up with this sick high-low mix-up. You literally try to just play as safe as possible until you let someone hang themselves. It was just like, dude, you don't understand. Like,
is that how, do other people agree with that, or is that just a Forwood philosophy?
I don't know. That's a great question. That's a great question. But I've tried to adapt that philosophy a little bit, and I've been doing better in the game. Cool. So, yeah, it's not about, because I always just try to do like the sick high-low, like try to train them, and it's really about letting people hang themselves. You just really kind of have to play as kind of carefully. It was really, I mean, some people in the chat are saying that's how you beat people in Tekken. So it's really just about letting people hang themselves. And so it's weird. Like, I had to change my whole philosophy on the way that game works. So, you know, it's weird that these kind of things happen and it's just people don't talk about it. That's why every time I try to learn these fighting games, I'm always trying to learn the philosophy of the fighting game, and that's what's most important to me. So,
for sure.
You do let people hang themselves in 2D fighters, but sometimes you don't have to. Like, if your offense is stupid enough, like, if your mix-ups are good enough, it just doesn't even matter at that point. It's like, you know, Injustice or Guilty Gear or whatever like that. They're just not going to block it. You know,
like my actual guard break and BB tag.
yeah, exactly. There's just, like, nothing that you can do about it sometimes, so, yeah. But whereas something like when you play in Tekken, it's more like you kind of poke at them, you chip at them. And he was even saying, he's like, you're not even going to do most of your damage through the big launch combo. even though that's what you see, and you're like, oh my god, no, it's really just poke them away, sidestep, dodge, find the times to make them whiff, and then you can punish them. So it's really just, you don't open them up because you break their defense. You open them up because you punish their counterattack kind of thing. It was really, really interesting.
That sounds like a productive Sunday.
Yeah. I learned a lot that day. So
cool, man.
Already instantly my Tekken game got a lot better. So yeah, that's why movement is so important in Tekken. So any case, I'm totally veering off the topic.
Yeah,
here.
while we've discussed this, I remembered a couple other things that I thought were weird, like that Dragon Ball FighterZ went down to the top 8 on Friday, and so there was no DBFZ on Saturday.
Yeah.
So that was kind of strange. And then it was a bummer to me that all of the pools of Injustice 2 happened simultaneously, because it was the most stacked, most dense.
That's right.
It wasn't a big event, so I get that it's maybe not a priority. Just a personal, I wish I had been able to see more of it. Kind of thing, where there were, from literally round 1, top-level matches occurring. So that was kind of a bummer to me. But, anyway, maybe not that big of a deal. All right.
So
Sako won Street Fighter?
That's right. So it's the second premiere in just a couple of months? Because he just won the Taiwan fighting major.
Yeah.
So Sako's...
Not even that long.
Yeah, and Sako was really showing... And we were talking about the Minot thing, right? Before it was like he had the craziest combos and everything like that. Or if it got blocked, he had a great reset. Now he's playing it so that he hits you with a partial combo and then has a reset. Like, no matter how he starts it, he'll hit you with 2 orbs and then he'll have 3 left. And then he'll try to do a mix-up on you in the middle of that. So it's not even just draining like this chunk of your life. He's draining all of your life at one sequence. It's crazy. And he did these weird things where he would just walk up and try to throw you, walk up, and then the orb would slide forward. Dude, in Grand Finals, they were on that CPT stage, which is all a blue ring. The orbs that were on the bottom of the screen were totally camouflaged. It was such, I felt like that was such an advantage for him because I couldn't even see the orb. I would see Sako walk forward with Minot and the opponent would get hit. And I was like, wait, what did they get hit by? Right. And it had to have been an orb. And that was Xiao Hai who got second, right?
It was. So Xiao Hai got second. That's cool for him. Chris T got third. Fantastic placing. Placing for him. He beat Momochi.
Dude, when he beat, dude, you saw his reaction when Momochi picked Ken, right? I mean, he was just ecstatic. He was euphoric. And honestly, after he won that, I felt like that was such a high for him that he just played so well afterwards. He was able to beat Storm Kubo. And then he beat, who was the other one that he beat? He beat Bonchan, that's right. And then he ran into Xiao Hai and Cammy. He just got Cammied, but,
Well, I mean, he took a game. It wasn't like he got blitzed.
Right.
So... No, that was maybe the best I've ever actually seen him play.
Yeah, I actually told Chris that, I thought the best I had ever seen him play was at Game Over in the Dominican Republic earlier this year. And I told him, I was like, you played better than that. You played better than that.
Oh. Boy, that thing is moving at 2 frames a second. Jeez.
So shout outs to... VT and Wesley for the gift tier to the gift sub to Ace Kings. It's his September. If you sub right now, you can gift subs to people right now, and if the person who is gifted a sub goes and clicks automatic renew, the next month will renew for only $1.
Oh.
And the streamers still get the full amounts and
really?
Stuff like that. Yeah. So if anybody else wants to, on my stream, I've had people gifting subs all over the place.
Dang, all right.
Pretty wild. So shout outs to all the guys out there. So.
And that ends in 5 days?
Yeah, it ends in 5 days. Right. So yeah.
Cool. Get on it while you can. Cool for Samurai to be up there. He got 5th. That was cool. Punk was up there in top 8 again. He did really well at Dreamhack, right? He was. Yeah. Wasn't he up there? Maybe I'm wrong about that. I guess he got 9th.
Regardless of what it is,
he's done much better.
I feel like Punk is playing like season 1, 2 Punk. Yeah, I think he's back up there. And you know what? I think a lot of it comes down to him just going back to Karen and believing in Karen right now. I agree with you. Because when he went to Cammy, I didn't like that. I didn't like that change for him. So
for sure.
I didn't feel like it worked out for him.
Toy continues to do super well. I feel like he's the most reported player in the North American Street Fighter scene right now.
Respect on the man's name.
He's super good. Super good. Very cool for Denka Diaz to do that well. Same with Commander Jesse, a couple and also Snake Eyes, SoCal boys. They each beat super high level players to get there, so that was cool. Yeah, it was fun. Nice work, everybody. Yeah. This was a stacked tournament.
Yeah.
Players there from All over the place. Very, very hard.
Sonic Punk.
That's right, yeah.
Hey, you saw how that benefited Dawn as well, that CEO Otaku, right?
Oh, I didn't
She got in the top 8 winners wearing the Sonic.
Was she watching it? Oh,
she was
dang,
wearing.
right.
She was wearing Sonic Fox's the hat, so she was a Sonic Dawn that weekend. Too,
Okay.
So we all see the power of that.
Did not realize. Dragon Ball FighterZ was one by
Punk
Kazunoko.
actually tried to wear it during the top 8, but he messed up because he wore it backwards, and so he just lost all the power basically. So
He doesn't know.
Yeah, he
doesn't know. Anyway, Kazunoko first, Dogra second when it came to Dragon Ball FighterZ. Sonic Fox got third, playing Bardock, Nappa 16. You know I don't keep up with the game.
It's his brand new team. He was testing it out.
And he didn't keep it up the next week.
No. After he lost that one, he was like, well, that team didn't work.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That was cool. Pretty cool to see Coup d'etat up there. Up and coming player.
Yeah, but Kazunoko, man, that guy. I mean, he's just taking it all over the place right now. So
yeah,
he's
good.
Really well, really well.
Japan number 1 and 2 in that event. In Tekken, Jimmy J. Tran won it, which was cool.
I mean, there was actually, some of the foreign players there, but that's the second time now that an American player has taken a Tekken World Tour event like this. So I think Joey Fury took one recently, and then Jimmy J. Tran took this one. So it's a really good sign for the American players. Looks like they're getting up there and getting stronger in the game.
Dimebag, who's...
I didn't watch the top 8 because I was playing Tekken.
Dang, all right, I respect that. I always respect the players who don't pay attention to the top 8. They're just playing themselves. Super respect for that. Dimebag got second.
It was Anakin who won Summer Jam. That's what it was. Okay.
And Saint was there, but he got 5th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what I mean. There's definitely some quality players there, and for Jimmy J. Tran to take that is really big. So
I watched some of this Street Fighter Alpha 3 event. That
good.
seemed like it was a lot of fun. Version seems ridiculous.
Version, he's dumb. He
seems ridiculous.
I mean, so apparently,
is V Cody good? I don't know the game that well.
So V Cody is not great, but he has a crouch cancel infinite, right? So he's going to be good for that reason. Like I said, he has the bug against V Akuma. I'm surprised that I didn't see people take advantage of that anymore. Because if you throw an air fireball on, because he has to dodge. Right. V Cody doesn't block, right? So he dodges and he comes back. But the air fireball triggers a glitch that he dodges it and he gets stuck in dodge for much longer than he's supposed to. Okay. So you can actually throw an air fireball, walk up, throw him. Neutral jump, throw an air fireball, he dodges, you walk up, throw him.
Is he throwable during the dodge?
Yeah, he's throwable during the dodge and stuff like that.
Wow.
So I don't know, but I did see him low block the air fireball once. So crouch block might be the secret then. So then it might be like a 50-50, like do I stand block the fireball or crouch block, et cetera, et cetera. But look, I'm just going to say this right here because you know what, this is our show, so I don't care.
Hey. Go nuts.
We weren't allowed to say this on commentary. Okay. But Version is basically the greatest Alpha 3 player. He is the guy who organizes the entire Alpha community in Japan.
Okay.
He organizes the national Alpha tournament.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, he has an actual national Alpha 3 tournament. It was the same weekend as SCR.
No!
He helped organize that national event, then flew out to SCR to win $7,000.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Wow.
But yeah, he really wanted to win this, and he actually he helps organize the national tournament, dude. So
anyway, it was fun to watch.
Yeah. Dude, it was great to see. I saw so many old friends that I hadn't seen. Saber was there. Dude, there's a player named Alex Navarro from Florida, and I said Saber was from Florida afterwards. Apologies. From Arizona.
Really?
Yeah, he's from Arizona. But Alex Navarro, I haven't seen that guy forever. Danny Leon was there to play that.
These are only names to me. I don't even,
Yeah, Mike Watson showed up to play in the Alpha 3 tournament. Dude, it was super cool, dude. It was super cool. And shout-outs, obviously, to Makoto's V Zangief was sick. To what was it? Maki, right? Was
Maki, the Chun-Li player.
Yeah, shout-outs to her as well.
Yeah,
she
seemed really good.
Awesome.
I saw a tweet from her where she was like, talking about how she flew all the way across the world to go play video games. She was worried that her kids would think that was really dumb, but her kids were like really proud of her for doing that well.
They're like, "You're the 4th best in the world," and she was like, "Oh, which is awesome."
I think that's really cool.
Yeah. She looked like, I mean, the cool part about it is like, I got to say hi to her and stuff like that and a little bit after the tournament and everything like that. But it was just like Nakano Sagat and I forgot who the other player was at CEO coming out to America for the first time to play in these tournaments. They just looked like they were having a blast. They were just having such a good time. She's married. She has 2 kids. She's married to another Chun-Li player in Alpha. And apparently, like, she only came out of retirement because the 30th anniversary came out. and that was the only reason why she started
That's
playing
hilarious.
again. So.
Oh man. You know, at some point that's going to be all of us, right? Like that right now that story is like how quaint. But
Right,
it's gonna be everybody.
100%, 100%.
Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. Jonah won it, beating Kazunoko in Grand Finals, and he is playing ridiculous right now. We'll talk about the following week. 'Cause he's won 2 in a row.
Yeah,
He looks amazing.
Not even just in this, he won Blaze Blue Central Fiction here as well. So
Correct.
yeah,
So he played amazingly well.
Yeah, I saw the. I didn't get to watch the top 4. I was playing Tekken at the time.
Okay.
But also
I watched it.
Punk just missed getting into the top 4, losing to Koopa. He went up 2-0 over Koopa, and then Koopa came back 0-3 against him. And I don't know if you could see it on the stream, but he was heartbroken.
Okay.
He was heartbroken. So Punk
Fully
is,
understandable.
Yeah, he is definitely putting in the work in this game. So.
Oh yeah, he's a good player. Sonic Fox also 5th. Zombie Move played super well. It was a really fun tournament to watch. Good character variety. Soul Calibur 6 won by Signia with Yoshimitsu.
Yeah, that was just an exhibition there.
For sure.
Yeah.
Under Night won by Squish with
Akatsuki. Yeah.
Cool. Guilty Gear Xrd Rev won by Kazunoko, Raven, Kizuke second. As we said, BBCF won by Jonah. MvCI was a good tournament. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah, that is a good question. Someone in the chat says that top 4 is stupid, right? And I wonder why Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle in particular got top 4. It's such a brand new game. I would imagine they would have just did top 8, for that game, but I guess not. So, I think that's really unfortunate.
I absolutely agree with you. Anyway, yeah, Marvel Infinite was cool.
Who won that one?
That was, I think, Dual Kevin.
Yeah, Dual Kevin. Yeah. Clockwork got into top 4, but he got 4th place, if I remember. So
You're right.
Dude, and
DGV
you know what?
won Super Turbo Tournament of Legends qualifier.
I said this on Twitter. I'm just going to do it again. But in terms of girl players in the fighting game community, Wave Chan is an MvCI player. She's really, really, really good. And she plays at NLBC all the time. There's a handheld footage of her beating Eliver at SCR.
Yeah, she's legit.
She did really well in that tournament, and I think that she deserves a lot more. She deserves a lot more talk for being such a strong player. So
Agreed. So DGV qualifies for Tournament of Legends 3 in Super Turbo.
That tournament was fun too. I got to do
fun.
the top 8 for that one. So
that was fun to watch. I watched that. Injustice 2, which, as I mentioned, I thought may have been like the densest top player to anybody else ratio
all
tournament.
16 players at the top
ever.
of the board was there.
It was
right?
It was super strong. I mean, not just that, but like that was the last of the major tournaments who give points to go for the IPS finals. Everybody needed the points. So part of why I was disappointed that all the pools were happening simultaneously is that I knew that every match was going to be legit.
Yeah.
And if everything happened simultaneously, then you get like 10 matches on stream or whatever they ended up getting. I had to leave. So that I thought I was disappointed in that. But yeah, the top 8 was good. Of course.
It sounded like it was a pretty big deal that Sonic Fox won that again.
It was, yeah. I mean, he was going to qualify anyway via points for the IPS finals, but
he just hasn't been winning events, right?
Right.
So
yeah. Exactly.
He's been concentrating on Dragon Ball all the time. That's just what.
And he'll tell you he's still doing that, but I hear to the contrary. Sonic Fox won with Black Canary.
Oh, really?
With Canary.
What? Why does this guy never choose the same character, dude? Does he get bored?
I think that is part of it.
Because he was using that crazy Nappa team for Dragon Ball, and that's why he was like, "Oh, I'm done with this team now." So, but I swear he wins with a different character every time I hear him playing in Injustice. So.
No, you are basically right about that. To be honest. He has a few characters that he tends to go back to.
Someone says they keep patching his characters. Is that true?
Nah.
Okay.
That's. I mean, it's unfortunate that NRS patched its games so often for MK9, Injustice 1, and early part of MKX, and now it has the reputation of constant patching.
Yeah,
but Injustice 2 was not like that.
Yeah, they haven't been patched
like
that
literally,
much,
like some characters have been patched almost not at all throughout the entirety of the game's lifespan. So no, it's not like that. But
right.
I mean, there are a couple characters. Maybe you talk about Cold and whatever. There's maybe a couple characters, but for the most part, not like that. Anyway,
yeah, and Sonic Fox is actually going to do really well for Soul Calibur. I mean, he's he's played it a little bit before. He has a history of DOA, so he knows 3D fighting games. I know Kayane played him in a bunch and even wrote a whole bunch about it, like how good he was and how quick he was.
He's just a smart kid.
I think he was just like, he's just basically been bred to play fighting games, it feels like, at this point by his older brother, right?
That's my theory.
So that's all he's been doing, and to the point where he knows he can win a lot of money and has won a lot of money. Man, how can you not be that good at fighting games if you just knew you could do this as a career for your childhood, you know?
Yeah, he did play Soul Calibur before too.
Sonic Fox is not the best DOA player, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't it like his brother or something like that?
His brother or somebody else. I don't think Fox is the best.
Okay.
But he certainly did do well in DOA.
It's his brother, Quiggles. That's what his brother. And Excalibur Blades. Yes, that's correct. So that'll be cool too. Once Soul Calibur 6 comes out, we'll get to see those two guys shine on a bigger stage. That'll actually be super cool.
Agreed with you.
So.
By the way,
if they play Soul Calibur in any case. So
Dragon is also learning Soul Calibur. In fact, he flew all the way to SCR just to play Soul Calibur.
He didn't enter the...
I don't think he even entered Injustice. Pokken won by Alistair. That's cool. ARMS happened. There you go. It was a good event.
So, fun event. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, honestly, like, it's a good event, but there's nothing in Ontario, dude.
The location is one of the worst.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, you talk about bad locations, and that's not all that there is to making a good tournament. Maybe that's not even like the biggest part, because CEO location had a ton of problems.
Right.
But the venue was great, and the tournament was great.
Uh-huh.
Combo Breaker is in the absolute boonies.
Right.
But the tournament is fantastic.
Right.
So that's not all that goes into making a good tournament. But if you don't have anything in the area, it's you're going to have to work pretty hard for the rest of it. So it's, what are you going to do? There's only so many places in Southern California that have affordable big venues. It
was also like almost 100 degrees outside, right? And so like my car got super hot, and let me tell you something, this is just like the nastiest thing, but like,
okay,
my parents always are like, oh, take this vitamin, or whatever like that. One of the things that they make me take is fish oil.
Okay,
pills,
I take
right?
fish oil.
You do take fish oil, right?
Yeah, it's good for joints.
So, yes, it's good for joints and everything like that.
I need.
And I have like a capsule with all of my medication.
Your fish blew up.
The fish oil blew up and melted. And now, like, all of my clothes and my bag and everything smelled like fish at that point in time.
Wow.
I tried washing the bag that I have because it's material and I can wash it. And all it did was make all my clothes smell like fish oil. So I had to rewash everything again just to get rid. Dude, I was not happy because it was so hot in that car, dude. So
horrible.
Yeah.
Pretty gross.
Yeah, it was not fun. Anyways, old fish stick Chen now.
Yeah. All right. Well, then this past weekend was Capcom Pro Tour in Japan. I think they just called it the Japan premiere, but it was at TGS. Which all of us just called it TGS, as we typically do. That was won by Tokido. And it's not like he was dominating the whole event. He had to come from losers to win. But man, incoming from losers, he beat Fudo, who got second place. Some of the fastest that I've ever seen in a grand final.
It was 12-1 round. 12-1 round. And you know what? It's all El Chacote's fault.
El Chacote.
El Chacote, sorry. Because he sent him to losers at SCR with Armika. And so Tokido afterwards was like, let me study this character.
You're probably right.
Let me study this character.
Okay.
And then that was it. So...
Yeah, no, he dominated in that grand final.
We're getting bits, and we forgot to do our thing.
Oh.
Tap 2 GG with good old Jimmy Fishmouth and giving us 7 bits. Woo! There you go. Okay, there you go.
That was cool. Nemo got third place. I feel like it's been a while since that happened.
Yes.
It was also cool to see NuckleDude get fourth place at a premiere in East Asia. Because it's not that common that American players travel to East Asia and do well.
He made it on winner's side, too.
Yeah, he was looking good. So I thought
Justin
that was
got ninth place as well. So
he did.
He just missed it by losing to NL.
Yeah. That was a good one. That was a lot of fun to watch.
God, there's a lot of
it was such a crazy stacked tournament. You look through it, and 25th places include like Daigo and Mago and Nishikinen and Hot Dog and Xiaohai, who had just gotten second. Like, it was such a mega stack.
But what that means, though, is that Trashbox is now in line to get one of those licenses.
Right, correct. So. Yeah, since everybody above him, he got 7th place, but everybody above him either wasn't eligible or already had a pro license, a Japanese, whatever's JESPA or whatever they call it, license. He then gets one. So, I guess congrats. As we've discussed, I'm no fan of that mechanic, but...
Fudo stamps.
Congrats.
With 3 bits. Woo! Woo! There you go. Okay. Yeah, but there you go. Tokido, after getting, taken out in pools at SCR, comes back immediately, wins a major. I don't think there's any question that he's the best player. He's the best, right?
I mean, ever. He's the best.
Yeah.
He's the best fighting game player ever.
Yeah.
But look, I thought people made too much out of him losing in pools.
Dude, it was ridiculous.
Too much
I mean, dude, he had been for 3 years. He had not missed the top 8 at a premiere except for like 3 times. Then he gets out. I mean, obviously he hasn't had quite that success recently, right? But that's still a number of factors, right? But then immediately after that, they're like, "Oh, game's random." Like,
I don't care what game it is. At some point, you're going to lose in pools.
Right.
You're just going to have a pool where there's really
melee,
good players.
Unless it's melee.
Fine. But in general, it's going to be like that.
Right. Northside blue.
I think it's totally fine.
Woo! Yeah.
But I really think it's not that big of a deal, and I don't think that the game is any more random than SF4 was. I feel like people just have this like mass amnesia with how we all viewed SF4.
Well, so this is what I've always said about the game, is that I feel like Street Fighter V just needs a little bit more, because you even said it yourself, like in Street Fighter V, for some reason when you get knocked down, you get this feeling of panic.
I do.
Right?
Even though I shouldn't.
Right, because that's the way the game is built.
Yeah.
It's just designed that when you get knocked down, you don't have a backdash. You don't have, in Super Turbo, if I choose to block, you can't throw me. Even if I block a low short and then you throw me, it still felt better because I got to block one thing, so I got one form of success. And that one little bit of success doesn't exist in Street Fighter, in Street Fighter V. In 4, it was just stupid Vortex. I quit the game because of the Vortex, because I just thought it was the stupidest thing ever, right?
Even though your character could do it, you just thought it was super dumb.
Yeah, it was dumb, and I didn't want... I felt like Justin did with that game, is I didn't want to go and study the Vortex or Cambi, because it was different for every character. And I was just like, this is not how I want to play the game, right? Sure. So, yeah.
People definitely lost in pools. Can I just tell you that in SF4?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, it's crazy. Right. Basically, people, I really think there's like mass amnesia. Tokido is crazy consistent. Right. I feel like he's probably more consistent in SF5 than he was in SF4.
Adam's Edge, woo! Okay.
Woo! Anyways, don't you think he's more consistent in this game?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, but that's because he's also even said, remember in towards the end of Street Fighter 4 is when he got stronger, because he had to learn how to play fundamentals, because he relied on the Vortex too much. Right. And when Akuma got nerfed and they added the delayed getup, he told himself, I'm not going to drop Akuma because I can't Vortex as easily. I just got to learn better fundamentals. Tokido said he had to learn better fundamentals, and so, again, like...
SF4 was a pretty good game.
In my opinion, there's 2 factors that's increasing kind of the randomness of Street Fighter V. One, the players are just too goddamn good right now. It's too many good players, so that's not randomness, right? Second factor, maybe, could be, but not really. There's just too many characters now. There's more characters now. So Daigo's going to lose to a Zeku because he's never played against a Zeku.
I mean, SF4 had so many at the end.
SF4 was ridiculous. I mean, that's a whole nother problem. But I'm just saying that because the characters are coming out little by little, you don't have the Zeku and stuff like that. So you're going to have people lose the characters that they're kind of unfamiliar with. But again, that's not randomness. That's your fault because you didn't study the character, right? So...
I mean, for sure, the game has problems, as we've often discussed.
The variable input lag.
I mean, like...
There's some randomness that we can talk about.
Not intending to defend everything about SF5, believe me.
There's some randomness we can talk about. Okay.
For sure.
I mean, like, if everybody was like, Tokido lost because of variable input lag, I would be like...
Maybe. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. But,
sure.
My position is still that I think SF5 is better than SF4.
Yeah.
CEO Otaku also happened.
Yes. CEO Otaku.
I wish that I had made time for this game. I wouldn't have been able to go anyway. I was busy this weekend, but man, that looked like a blast.
They said that they doubled the entrance, I think, from last year to this year. Like, it is becoming, like, super legit, like, one of the biggest majors for it. And in fact, it's going to be part of the Arc Revo Tour next year, if I'm not mistaken.
That's good. BB Tag had 324 entrants.
Yeah,
that's big.
That's awesome, dude.
Yes.
That's awesome. So shout out to Bailey for doing a great job with that. And, you know, obviously he's been the one throwing out all the tweets congratulating himself, but, you know, like, he was saying stuff like, you know, people didn't believe that you could have an event on just anime, but look at me and blah, blah, blah. But
you know, the thing about Alex and his big head is that sometimes, like, it's earned in part. It's not like he's just walking around, you know, getting a C after not studying the entire year. Like, he got an A. No, but yeah, that's the thing about Alex. And the other thing is that when you tell him, like, hey man, you're getting a little bit too big here, you're getting a little bit too big head, he'll be like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, he'll own up to it.
He knows.
I respect that.
But honestly, it was really cool that I watched, like, some of the Eunice. I watched Eunice Top 8 with my cat sleeping on me. I tweeted a picture of that. It was really cool. Then the cat, like, had a dream and started shaking and then drooled all over my arm, and I was like, this is gross.
Well, that's something that can happen. So like I said, BB Tag was the biggest game, and it was, as a result, the final one. You know, you might have thought, in fact, I guess I did think that it would have been Dragon Ball FighterZ, but it was not. It was not.
It's super cool.
Yeah, I'm really happy. I mean, you know, we've talked much at length about how we love this game.
Yeah,
so that's awesome that is doing that well.
To be fair, I haven't played it much recently because I've been cracking out on Tekken.
Oh, so, yeah, hey man, that's cool.
Yeah, that's a worthy reason.
For sure. I've still been playing a lot of Tag. Jonah won it, as I mentioned before. He won both this and at SCR.
Dude, that guy is ridiculous.
He looks so strong right now.
Although he did tweet, he's like, I think he tweeted something like, I don't know how I did this. So, but great job to Jonah for sure. So
yeah, I think that's pretty cool. It was a good tournament. Like, if you look at the character results, there was a lot of variety in there. Wald Tager made it up there with Jan. You got Jubei Ragna. I thought that was pretty sick. Mitsuru Nu. It was cool.
Yeah.
Really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Under Night had second most. Clear Lamp won it with Byakuya.
Yeah.
Squish got second with Akatsuki.
It was close. Yeah, I mean, Squish, he won SCR. He almost did a back-to-back as well. And he was also the one that won EVO. So, you know, Squish is pretty dang legit with Akatsuki. So,
got it.
Yeah,
so, if you look at the top 8, you have Byakuya, Akatsuki, Chaos, Line, Gordeau, Wagner. Wagner? How do you pronounce that?
I say Wagner, but it doesn't matter.
Orie and Yuzuriha. That was 8 characters in the top 8.
Dude, so, I mean, when we did when Henry Choi and I did by the way, congratulations to Henry Choi, got married, so congratulations to him. But when we did the character stuff and, you know, we had all the Eunice players in our chat and everything like that, dude, that game is actually super well balanced right now. It's really, really well balanced. And so, I mean, obviously, there's characters like Phonon who are like, everyone's just like, oh god, this character.
She too good?
She's probably considered, like, I think maybe top 1 or 2 or something like that, but she's really good.
She didn't make top 8 at this one.
She didn't make top 8. Machine Supreme. Woo! There you go. 17 characters in top 16. Really?
Dang, that's pretty sick.
That is crazy. Good stuff. Katana Prime, of course. Katana Prime also got to do his first Tekken commentary at SCR, right. So that was actually really cool.
It was cool. Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2 was won by Summit. I didn't watch any of that.
I just want to see who was in there. Okay, no, never mind. Go for it.
And then Dragon Ball FighterZ, Sonic Fox won it. He went back to Bardock, Zamasu, Android 16.
Super Noon in third place. Good stuff.
Yeah, Looking God, Super Noon, Kill Sage.
Super Noon really is doing great in this game right now.
Yeah, man.
Really
he has been the whole time, for sure.
Yeah.
Yohosi got 5th, and that's really cool. And she mentioned it a little bit that, you know, that's... she felt like she really leveled up at SCR.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'd love to see that more
It's
from her.
nice because, you know, I know she's been a little bit hard on herself. She went to the Summit. She went 0-12 at the Summit. And then she hasn't been performing well out of the tournaments. And I love a lot of that. A lot of people don't even realize how much of fighting games really is own self-doubt. You know what I mean? And to get into the top 8, I mean, she had a pop-off and everything like that. And then, you know, and then she got into winner side top 8. And, you know, I'm really happy for her. So I'm really happy for her.
Is it a surprise that Peppery Splash got up there? I feel like he's been good for a long time.
Peppery Splash has been an excellent Guilty Gear player. He's one of the best Johnnies out there, so there's nothing to me that's surprising about him. I mean, if this is new for him, if he hasn't been playing a lot of Dragon Ball, I mean, and then he shows up and gets top 8, I mean, makes sense to me. For sure. So someone's asking, what is Eunice? Eunice is kind of like an anime game, but more closer to KOF, I would say, because it's a horizontal game. There is actually no such thing as perfect air blocking. You know, there's stuff that you cannot air block. There's no high jumps in the game. So it's a very horizontal-based anime game that characters are completely crazy and batshit insane, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a good game. Accent Core, Plus R, won by Kadako with May. It's cool. Mm-hmm. Sailor Moon S, Mr. K won it with Uranus. Man. Which is the one? I don't know if you know.
She's the one that can dash across the screen in SPDU, I think.
Why doesn't everybody? I don't know anything about the game other than that. But I feel like just knowing that.
Well, there's some characters that have meaty fireballs that do more damage on block than they do on hit. You know, the game. The reason why everyone loves this game is because all the characters are just stupidly broken. They're just stupidly broken. So,
I saw a missing person at Dreamhack Montreal, and I was like, "Hey, are you going to be traveling or anything?" He was like, "Yeah, I'll be going to CEO talking."
Did I miss 1,000 bits?
Wow.
Did I? Oh yeah, there you go. You still have Zoidberg. Gave us 1,000.
I'll give that a woo.
No, I'll give that a woo.
Okay. Yes. There you go. Woo. That was actually my phone ringer for quite a while. You know that.
I remember.
Oh man, my wife couldn't stand that. So.
Oh man.
Yeah, that
game also has a Sagat that can do 30% damage, low tiger shot as many times as she wants on low health.
Okay.
Oh man, it's great.
Yeah. I guess that's about it.
Yeah, but shout outs to CEO Otaku, always doing cool stuff for the anime games, and it's going to be an awesome year. Arc Revo's coming out. They announced some of the events. They're just I think CEO Otaku is going to be one of the events and such. So next year and everything. So Arc Revo 2019 is going to be cool. It's going to be fun.
Well, I also heard really good things, although I didn't watch it, about the MvCI top 8.
Oh yeah, it was.
I heard that was really good.
Dude, I didn't get to watch a lot of it. I'm gonna do an FGC rewind on it and watch it on stream at some point in time. But man, that grand finals was down to the last game.
Sick.
And when Tyson won, so Tyson lost to Knives at CEO.
Okay.
So this was kind of like a rematch, and he won the very last game, and you could see Knives was just. Oh my God! It was like Ralph Wiggum. You could see the moment that the heart broke. It was brutal. But dude, I mean, we'll talk about MvCI a little bit more.
Well, that's it when it comes to events. Well, no, there was also EGX.
EGX. So
you're right. I tried to time it so that the Marvel one would be the last, but I got it wrong. So Angry Bird.
Well, even before we get that, I just kind of want to mention there's been a couple of other things there was Never Give Up in Chile. I always want to give the Latin America scene a bunch of shout outs. Thunderstruck is coming up as well. So there's Fighting Fest in DR this coming weekend, and then the next weekend after that is going to be Thunderstruck in Mexico. So there's a bunch of cool Latin America events. So definitely support them. But Chris T won Never Give Up in Chile.
Yeah, man.
So
he's been killing it lately for sure.
Mysterio got 4th place. Doomsnake got 5th place in that tournament. So there you go. Okay, EGX.
Yeah, man. So the premiere was won by Luffy. So the way that this worked was that there was a regular premiere that anybody could enter on the first 2 days.
Right.
And that was won by Luffy.
Then there was the Last Chance Falls to the regional.
Right.
Which was won by Angry Bird. And then there was the actual regional.
Exactly.
Which Angry Bird won.
Which he also won. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so the European representative will be from the Middle East.
Yes. But, again, another situation again. Did you see the clip of him winning?
I didn't.
Dude, after he wins, he just...
Oh, I did.
He sits there at the machine for 1 second, and Logan's just yelling. He's just like, oh, he's made it into he's going to represent Capcom Cup. Yeah. And I swear, as soon as Logan said that, you could see the realization creep into him, and then he just was like... And then the emotions just all jumped in there. So, I mean, I'll tell you what, man. I know, obviously getting into Capcom Cup is a big deal because you can win a lot of money.
Right.
And there's a lot of people who talk about, people only play these fighting games because of, they only play Street Fighter V for money. But you don't have that kind of reaction just because it's money.
Of course,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And then there was also a scene of Kichipamu beating Storm Kubo, I think it was.
I think it was Fujimura.
Fujimura, right. And after he won, he got super emotional.
Yeah.
He was just almost crying and stuff like that. And you have to understand, fighting games is fighting games, man. You play it because you're passionate about it, right? You're just going to play it because you're passionate about it. So
Agreed, dude. So congrats to Angry Bird. That is super awesome.
Zeku in Capcom Cup. Come on, dude. Let's go.
I'm not going to tell you that I think Zeku is top tier or anything, but I was always confused why people thought that he was bottom tier.
Well, I honestly, I think that he's bottom tier because no one explored him, right? So I just feel like, and then I think he wasn't explored because he came out at a really terrible time. He came out in November or October of a Capcom Cup year. So no one's ever really actually going to take the time to play the character to learn what he's capable of.
Well, he did get buffed as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not going to, who's... Mr. Friday says that it was definitely a player. I definitely agree with that, of course. But, there's been some talk in the scene about how good Zeku is as a result of this. And also, Angry Bird's done well recently, not just at this tournament. I do think he's pretty good.
The Zeku at SCR was the one who knocked out Daigo. He was from I
believe Colombia.
Colombia, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, the ex-Marvel player. The guy who played Thor in Marvel 3.
Yeah, I know. Our brains aren't the best.
I don't remember offhand. Somebody's going to tell it to me and I'll be like, ugh.
But he was definitely one of the Latin Americans.
Serpentaurus.
Serpentaurus, that's what it was. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, awesome for Angry Bird to be there. Very cool to see that. That means that he's guaranteed to be at Capcom Cup. So even though he's, I think, 52nd, if I recall correctly, in terms of overall points.
So Luffy, you mean? Or Angry Bird?
Bird.
Yeah.
That's not what matters. He's just qualified.
He's won the regional, so he's in there. Yeah. So, again, man, what a great moment for that guy, dude. What a great moment
very
for that
cool.
guy. So.
And as we were saying, the premiere itself was won by Luffy. That was pretty cool.
So he's doing
Momi's
fine.
been killing it lately. He got second place. I feel like that's been occurring quite a bit. Got to think that his win is not that far away.
It's really interesting because there's all these camis all over the place. Momi, obviously a cami player, Shao Hai cami player, but someone actually pointed out to me that in all the top 8s, Cami has a losing record or something like that. So she has a terrible record against Manat. She has a terrible record against Karen. She has a terrible record against
she also has the most games played in top 8.
Right, by almost 200 games, right? So it's weird contrast, because the guy was trying to argue to me that she wasn't the best character in the game.
Okay.
And I still think she's the best character in the game.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's Cammy, Guile, Akuma.
Really? Okay. I thought it was I mean, at this point in time, I kind of believe in the Akuma hype a little bit, so I'm kind of like a Cammy, Akuma, Guile now. But it's definitely those three. And then Manat and Ibuki are in 4 and 5, I feel like.
Fair enough.
That's the same top 5 that I've heard everybody say.
Everybody has that top 5.
Everybody has that top 5.
Yeah. It's kind of that situation.
Yeah.
That's it for the big ones. There was also the Injustice 2 Intercontinental Championship finals. I mean, championships are being worked on. Right, there's going to be finals that will occur in Vienna, but each region sends people to Vienna. And the Australian winners were DS Wasminator, who played Catwoman, and OZH Gilbags, who played Joker. That was cool. Middle East was won by Tekken Master. So
Okay.
Nasser Esports is looking good right now because Angry Bird is in Nasser and Tekken Master also, as well as Shark Tooth. They got second place there. So that's cool.
Yeah. There was also an AFA Jakarta X Game start results. This was a radar event, I think, for Dragon Ball Fighters.
Okay.
So let me see. Radar event. And so the winner was AG Drek with SSG, SS Vegito, SS Goku, and SS Vegeta, and they'll be going to be able to fly to any Saga event of their choice now. So there you go. So that took place there. Trying to see if there's anything else, because there's a...
I moved that we move on.
Bunch of stuff over here. Yeah, okay. Okay, no worries. Okay, do you want to take a break, or do you want to just...
Let's take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to go over Marvel Infinite as it exists a year later. That took a lot longer to discuss results than I had expected, but I guess that's to be expected because there were 3 weeks that we missed.
Yeah, and to be fair, we were talking about, we weren't going through just like, here's this number 8, number 7. We were
That's
talking
why I thought
about,
it would take less time.
Okay,
but,
okay.
It didn't actually happen. So.
But 3 weeks of results, yes, 3 weeks of results. Okay, we'll be right back. We'll get into Marvel, and then we may cut out like 5-5 matchup this week just to finish by 8. Okay, be right back, guys.
Turkey sandwich, not bad.
Let's go.
We will talk about Armada.
Yes, we will definitely talk about that. Oh, there we go. Woo! Shoutouts to Natakan for the 100 bits.
Woo! You know, I think Jubei is super good.
Oh, have you been playing a lot of Jubeis?
No, it's more like I've been just finding stuff out in training mode.
So, the patch improved him a lot.
Okay.
A lot. Like, have you been doing stand B into quarter circle forward B and, you know, and juggling and, like, launching them and stuff like that?
I haven't even been doing combos. I've just been looking for setups.
Okay. Yeah, he is so much better after
I feel like
patch.
he's one of the best characters in the game at finding a sandwich opportunity, which I feel like is one of the strongest things in the game.
Yeah. That's what I've been learning
that
a lot.
That is crazy good. And his ability to cross up or not might be the best. Or it's, if not the best, top 3 or 5.
Like, what are you using for that right now?
The seals dash, or if you're right up close, the just regular dash.
Right. Okay.
So I feel like in any pressure opportunity, or even if you're just like mid range, whatever, you can do it, and now you're there, and you get a sandwich opportunity. Or if he's on assist, his bouncing ball is so slow that as the other character, you can get to the other side first, and then call, and now you're sandwiching based on him being the assist. So I feel like on both point and assist, he's one of the best in the game at creating that kind of opportunity.
I mean, it's there's one of the seals in the air in particular that will go behind them every single time. Most of the other ones stay in front on block. So it is a little bit harder to get behind with the seals, like from full screen away. But one of them does get you over there, and you just have to tie your knee at the lowest height possible, and you can get that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, but no, Jubei, I like I said, and then his biggest problem, honestly, like I said, was when I played him. 1, he gets zoned out really well. Okay, and 2, if his assist is dead, he had massive problems.
I can see him not being a great solo character.
Right, but that changed in the second patch.
Okay.
Because before in the first patch, he just couldn't do anything. Like, he just had no combos. And now he's got some super sick, fun-ass combos, dude.
That's cool. I haven't even looked at that.
Yeah, so he's really cool. So, okay.
I mean, of course, I would play the Geef with the full screen dash in Sailor Moon. Yeah. Or the Geef with a Sonic Boom and Air Fireball that does insane chip and lockdown. Well, I'll go with the full screen dash. I think we're good.
Yeah. Okay, ready?
Yep. All right, we are right back, as you can see in the little ad slide that we had right there. That's Marvel Infinite. It's been a year since Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came out. In fact, the first major tournament that had Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was SoCal Regionals 2017.
That had the awesome Richard Wynn F-Champ match.
Correct. Correct. So we just thought it would be nice to talk about the game a little bit after a year. To look back on its anniversary. This is not something that we even do with most games, but I feel like it's a particularly unusual case.
Yeah.
It's worth doing.
I mean, I just wrote out a tweet because I was seeing some of the cool things that some of the players were doing. I think it was Ninja Nam who like got someone in a death combo and he activated Soulstone, and so Soulstone lets you tag in infinitely.
Oh, it's
right?
Time Stone.
Time Stone, right. So he activated it, and then he
Yeah,
he did a level 3 somebody, but he just switched him and killed him. And like I was watching a Winter Soldier get trapped in a box, and then he infinite block stunned the Dormammu on the other side of the screen, and then he finally got hit, and then he went into a full combo, and the guy rage quit on him and stuff like that. And so like, I just tweeted out, I was like, I still love this game.
It's an awesome game. I actually started playing it again after Evo for a while.
Oh, really? Okay,
I haven't played it the last few weeks now, but
nice.
Yeah, I missed it.
You know, I messed up to Timestone Soulstone because Soulstone used to be green, but now Timestone is green.
Oh, that's right.
I was thinking of the green background, but anyways.
It's all good.
Yeah,
yeah, so anyway, it's been a year, and I feel like if you look back on it, it's been obviously not what anybody wanted in the scene. Before the game came out, you know, man, I had conversations with friends who were so excited for the game, not just because the game itself looked like it was going to be fun, but also because of the hoped-for opportunities, right? Player sponsorships, commentary roles, more events that they could run. Like, a lot of people were excited for it in terms of that because the history of Marvel has been that the scene is so strong.
Yep.
And you know, before it came out, obviously we had all seen the game and we knew that it didn't look good.
Right.
But they were still excited for what the scene could do with the game because thinking like, look, Marvel 2 doesn't look that great. Who cares? Like, it's like they expected that it would still work out. Obviously, it didn't work out at all.
Game came out and thumbs down.
Yeah.
It was an ugly game. Capcom didn't feel like it was supporting it right. It felt like Marvel was being kind of butts about everything.
I mean, you know, looking back, I don't have any inside info about it, but yeah, I have to think that Marvel was a major reason for its problems in terms of the roster selection and in terms of the support that it was given, lack of support really when it comes to marketing. But look, Capcom screwed up big time. I mean, the game is actively worse in terms of audio visuals than Marvel 3. It is a significant downgrade from a game that came out in 2011. That's tough.
Even as something that's not like, I mean, just the music is terrible.
Yeah, man.
The sound effects aren't so great. The graphics are dull and boring and everything like that. But the gameplay is really fun.
The gameplay is great. It really is. And it's you know, you got to look back at in terms of why it is that the game didn't work out. It's not just because of the graphics. I really feel it's not. Right now, BB Tag is gaining a lot of steam, and that game is using assets from 2008.
Right.
And it's just all pasted together from different games. Waldstein doesn't look like he belongs in a game with many of the other characters. It doesn't. But that's fine because of some other reason. I'm not entirely sure what that is.
Look.
But it's even though in the past games that are kind of slapped together end up doing okay, and BB Tag is doing the same right now, Marvel Infinite did not.
So there was a lot of negativity towards Capcom at the time because of Street Fighter V. And honestly, like, I don't want to give social media enough credit, but social media absolutely killed MvCI. It was what killed it, because when it came out, like I said, I have friends, super turbo friends, don't play in the fighting game community anymore on my Facebook. And like, there was like some news about MvCI, some bad news about MvCI, and they were like, good. That game deserves to die and whatever like that. But it's like, why? At what point? Like, where did this information come from, right? You know, it's because everybody was so darn negative on the game, and anyone saying anything positive about it was branded a shill. And so no positivity of the game can come out. Now that the game has been a year old and there's all these people who are still playing it and they still love it, now people believe that people like the game because they're still playing it, right? You know, there's a lot of people who are still playing, and the teams, even the gem usage is way more varied than people thought it was going to be, right? We're seeing all sorts of people using all sorts of different gems and everything like that. But the game is super fun. People really, really enjoy this game, and it really has remained being the you know, sick and creative game that it was at the beginning. You know,
I miss. Well, like I said, I went back and started playing it again, but I missed the movement of Marvel. Nothing else is like it. There's just no game series that has movement like Marvel does. It's totally in its own category, in my opinion. So it's not something that I can get from other stuff. I really like BB Tag. It's my favorite game right now, but as much as I think it does right, the movement is not like Marvel.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing is like that. So it's.
And I want to address something in the chat here. So Writing Soul asked, why didn't they just asset flip the models from MvC3? If you actually look at the models in MvCI, they are actually an improvement over MvC3. They actually have more polygons, and they are actually more from a normal standpoint, they are better models.
Okay.
It's the lighting, and it's just the way the game is presented. It's so drab. If they actually put in the cell shading in there and had the cool hit sparks and everything, that the game would look fantastic. But I'm pretty sure Marvel forced them to do a more cinematic look, make it look as realistic as possible in video game language. Let's make everything brown. Like, if you actually look at Arthur's head from one game to the other in MvCI, it's like drastically improved.
Really?
Yeah, it's just I mean, obviously we have some problems, like the faces look horrible. I don't know what the hell's going on with that, right? But in terms of like how many polygons and the textures and all that stuff like that, they're actually better in MvCI than they are in MvC3. It's just lighting. That's how much lighting makes a difference, right? That's how much it kind of, sorry, but that's how much it fucked it up, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, it's not my contention that the game should have succeeded, or maybe that. Let me phrase it like this: other games have had issues with art and had success anyway.
Right.
I would argue that Street Fighter 4 came out, it was not a good-looking game, and at no point did it become a good-looking game. That didn't seem to matter a whole lot. And like I said, with BB Tag, it's slapped together, I think in a better package than Marvel Infinite was, but it's nevertheless slapped together from various different games, and that's not killing it. Right. So I don't think that, although that's probably part of it, I don't think that can be looked at as the only reason why it died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, KOF 14, some people are saying KOF 14 and SF Cross Tekken both also kind of got hated on because of graphics as well.
Certainly so. Yeah. Certainly so. So, I mean, look, that is an impediment to succeeding. But having bad graphics doesn't mean that you're dead.
Right.
There's plenty of examples where the opposite is true.
Right.
So you got to look for other additional reasons. Yeah. Not instead of, but in addition to.
Right. Bad cast. A lot of people talk about the lack of X-Men, which is really terrible. I mean, it hurts me, like I said, personally, that Wolverine is not in every Marvel game now.
Yeah. It's weird.
Because he was in every single game. He hasn't missed a single one of them, and now he's not in this one. So, yeah, but no, absolutely. I love what Delgado says in the chat. It's a lack of artistic theme in MvCI. There was definitely a drive to try to make it look more cinematic and stuff like that. And even the music. Someone even put out a great video comparing Captain America's theme from MvCI, from MvC3 to MvCI, and MvC3 it was like dun 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 dun, kind of based off of the MSH, and it's just like it's exciting and it's like and then like I can't even hum the theme, from MvCI because it's just movie score soundtrack. It's like what? Who knows what it is, and it's there's so many things that went wrong with the game.
They injusticed it.
Yeah, and I really, exactly. He had a theme, but look, I'm not saying Capcom's not to blame. I know
of course they have part of the. Of course,
a lot of people, a lot of parts of it. Capcom. I mean, I'm a little biased. I just because I have a history of knowing what Marvel does to things, So I'm gonna put a big chunk of the blame on Marvel, but definitely Capcom did a lot of things that shoot themselves in the foot with this game.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I mean, and the Battle for the Stones tournament being a gimmick instead of something serious. For sure. They could have done many things better, not just on the dev side, but also in the marketing and in the tournament side. I mean, it could have been drastically improved.
Right.
I feel like it's something that people should, if you have not, take another look at, because it is a really fun video game. It really is a fun video game, and I know it doesn't look great, but if you want to have a good time, I really think Marvel Infinite's one of the best choices.
Right. It's funny because the reason why I blame social media a lot too is you could even see it in the chat. Right? We talk about all these different games all the time, and people have comments to say about it, but whenever you talk about MvCI, it gets that much more vitriolic.
Yes, it does.
People are all of a sudden like, this game is shit. Like, how can you even defend this?
Right now.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, that's what happens. And that's why I because honestly, there's just this thing now that you're supposed to hate the game and you're supposed to call it shit no matter what without even really trying to give it a chance. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. So
I really think it's deserving of another chance.
Yeah.
I really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really, sure, the roster is very, very weird, but the game is just so much fun, dude.
Look, if you're somebody who plays a fighting game because of its audio visuals, it's probably not for you. And I don't want to cast any just aspersions on that. That's everybody plays for their own reasons. If that's why you play it, I get it. You're not playing that. If you're playing for certain characters to be in there and they're not in there, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
But if you're the kind of player who plays because a game has sort of fun strategic elements or whatever, you like because of the game engine, maybe better, or game options. Right. I really think Marvel Infinite is deserving of another chance.
I just talked about no X-Men. I just talked about Wolverine not being in the game. But also, people also have to remember, from like Boats and Joe's brought this up, but MvC2 to MvC3, when MvC3 came out, holy crap, there was a lot of people who were mad at MvC3.
True.
But, people continued to play it, and it became a much better game than I expected. Like, I didn't think MvC3 was going to turn out as good as it did, right?
Dude, if you recall, there were a couple of years there where I hated the game, and I was public about it. I was vocal about it.
Right.
I think in the end I was wrong about that.
Yeah.
I wish that I had not stopped playing the game. It was a lot of fun.
So,
well, it's been a weird year for the game. As we said, I don't think we've ever talked about like a game's year in review before.
Yeah.
But it's such a unique case that I just want to say I feel like it is deserving of another chance if you're into a game for its options and movement and whatnot.
It's not just us, too. I saw a couple of articles written about it, or just like people think pieces and stuff like that. A lot of people talking about MvCI like after a year. Yeah. So I just thought it would be worth us talking about, too. So, but again, look, obviously, most people don't like the game. I'm not trying to tell you to try it. But if you don't know what you think about the game, or if you hate it and never tried it, if you legit hate the game, that's cool. If you played it and you're like, this game sucks, more power to you. But, a lot of good stuff in that game. So, okay. So for 5-5 matchup, there was a few things that I wanted to talk about, but I don't think we're going to have time for that.
Yeah, probably not. We should just get to other minor topics, I guess.
So let me see. What did I have?
We got about 20 minutes here before we got to skedaddle.
So what was I talking? What did I want to talk about?
In terms of minor topics, or in terms?
Well, in terms of the like, I mean, I know. Did you want to talk about SNK heroines at all, or anything?
I just think it's not that important, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a game.
The plot of it is just gross. I mean, in my opinion.
For sure, the plot's gross. I don't support it. Yeah. I don't hate if other people do support it. Right. I'm not like morally opposed to you supporting it. I don't like it. I don't think the topic is super important, to be honest.
And then also, I know Bone Chan said that he thinks Sagat is the worst of the three characters that he plays, and that definitely made a lot of the L.I. Joes and Flows out there very happy to see Bone Chan talk about how Sagat's not very good.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, man. Obviously he's much, much better at fighting games than I am, but I wonder if that's him still thinking like how Sagat should be rather than like having fully explored. We'll see. Time will tell.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of other things, so I'm just going to move to game news here, then FGC news. So there's a couple of things that I did want to make sure I took the time to talk about. First of all, very sad story, but really kind of cool at the same time. I believe his name is Chris Taylor, who goes by the name of Spooky Wobbler on Twitter. Cancer. He has cancer, and I think this was his fourth bout with cancer, and he just finally gave up, basically, and he just said, I'm going to accept my fate. But he is a big Smash player, and there was a big campaign out there for allowing him to play Smash Ultimate, because he basically said, I'm afraid I'm not going to get to play. He was a big Snake player. He really wanted to play Snake in Smash Ultimate. So there was a big campaign out there, and sure enough, Nintendo got word of it, and they brought a Switch, the easily stolen Switch and everything like that, to the hospital, so that him and his brother and I think a couple of other guys were able to play it.
His brother and buddy. He did pass away.
He passed away, I think it was this morning, right? Was it last night or this morning?
I heard about it this morning, but exactly when it occurred, I couldn't tell you. Yeah, but I think it was at his home, by the way, not at the hospital.
And I really honestly feel like there was part of him that was like, I just need to stay alive just so I can get the chance to do this. And I mean, it's a sad story, but at the same time, it's wonderful because, you know, you can see in the pictures that, you know, they took of the event, you know, he's obviously not feeling well. He was very gaunt and everything like that, but he just looked like he was having the time of his life in those pictures.
Yeah,
and so,
you know, that was something super cool of Nintendo to do. Just fantastic that they did that. You know, that to make a guy's final times a little bit better in that way is just that's so nice. I'm sure it was difficult for them to do. You know, it's not some easy process for a company to get internal clearance to ship out something that's brand new like that, unreleased. So I can't imagine it was easy, but they made it happen fast. I mean, that tweet was only passed around last week or a week and a half ago, quite recently. And so in terms of how slow a big company can move, that was pretty fast. I think that's really commendable. And everybody involved, I think, is very impressed. I mean, really happy y'all did that.
For sad news like that, it's good that we have that ray of happiness to come out of that. So I think that was really cool. Oh, it was the E3 demo. That's really cool. Okay. So there you go, and shout-outs to, I mean, the Smash community for pulling that together. I definitely helped retweet that and everything like that. So it was interesting because they also even just had an event this past weekend, the roasting of Hugs, and I heard that thing went super well and everything like that. So I mean, the Smash community does. We complain about them a lot, but they do a lot of great things at the same time. So they do a lot of wonderful things.
Well, sorry to hear about it for his family. You know, best wishes. Condolences. I'm glad that his end was made a little bit easier.
But sticking to Smash, another kind of piece of news out there was that Armada decided to retire from singles. He's still going to play doubles, but he's going to retire from singles, which is really interesting. I didn't get a chance to see what the
I watched the video.
Was. Oh, did you? Okay,
I did.
Okay.
I subscribed to Armada on YouTube.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
He just mentioned that he doesn't have the love for the competition of singles anymore.
Interesting.
It's been coming to him for about a year, he said. He first started to feel that about a year ago. He didn't feel like he had the motivation for it, and that it's been a big struggle for him to continue playing in the way that he did. You know, he still had success anyway, although maybe not as much as he has occasionally had in the past. But, I mean, he still played fantastically throughout much of the year. And he said that he just didn't feel motivated for it anymore. And he said he'll probably still play casuals. He views doubles as just being a different game.
It absolutely is.
Like, he said he just feels it's so different that he still enjoys the strategy in that, and he still enjoys playing that. But look, he had, I would say, one of the best fighting game careers ever. I mean,
he's considered the GOAT, right? He's the greatest of all time in Smash Melee.
Crazy strong player. Yeah, lost to, 7 people in 9 years? The numbers was something like that. Just 7 different people. That's incredible. That's incredible run. Incredible run. You know, difficult to imagine other people doing that in any other game.
But, you know, I mean, obviously, there's jokes about it in the chat, but, you know, fighting game players retiring is always kind of a... We'll see you next week, buddy.
Exactly, yeah. Right? The joke is if that somebody announces their retirement, they're definitely coming back. The only people who retire are the people who fade away slowly because they just lose interest. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see. He did leave an opening in the video where he was like, look, if I feel differently in the future, then I'll come back.
Right.
But he didn't think that it was worth it to himself to push himself to do it if he just wasn't feeling like he, you know, look, I mean,
if he comes back during Ultimate, that'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
I mean, he said he retired specifically from Melee singles, not from gaming, right? So he's obviously playing doubles. Did you see my tweet in honor of Armada?
I don't think so.
Okay. I said, I'm never going to have the chance because I don't commentate Melee.
Oh, yeah.
But I basically said that, you know...
You've told me this in person.
Yeah. I've always wanted it so that if I was commentating it and someone was playing with Armada... and they still lost in a doubles tournament with the GOAT, you know, with the greatest player. If you lose in that situation, you really have to ask yourself, what's Armada with you? Wow! What's Armada with you? It makes no sense. It's so good. It's so good.
One.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That armada sunk off the coast, buddy.
Oh, man. Okay. Anyways. Let's see. Lots of other just random game news here.
Well, Samurai Showdown got announced. Mm-hmm. I don't think we had a chance to talk about that yet. That's pretty cool. There's not a ton of info about it yet. The date that it's going to be released is in 2019.
I think someone said the art director is the same someone who worked on Street Fighter 4, and it kind of looks that way.
Yeah, the kind of inky.
Yeah, the inky and the ways Haomaru's face looks.
Right.
You know,
right. That's right. Yeah,
very Street Fighter 4 look to it.
Like Ryu. Yeah.
I mean, It's Samurai Showdown, thanks to 2, is kind of in that sub-Darkstalkers level for me, that it's just... Samurai Showdown 2 was so beautiful, and it was so artistically done and everything. And it's funny because, like, I talk about, I hate the fact that Injustice has no good music or whatever like that. But, like, if Samurai Showdown 2, this new Samurai Showdown comes out and it has, like, happy, crazy music, like, that would be terrible.
Happy, crazy music.
It has to be the...
For sure. Yeah,
you know, kind of stuff like that. And, like, it needs to be kind of silent, and you need to have the hit stun.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
crazy hit stop.
Yeah,
like seconds long hit stop.
And then the block stun has to be completely different with the rebound and everything. Like, if they can preserve a lot of that, the Samurai Showdown 2 is such a beautiful mood game.
For sure.
So if they can preserve that, that is what we need from that game. And I fingers crossed, and it looks, and even the violence in it, like, it's always been violent. Someone showed from a previous game where they, like, chop Nakaru in half, and her blood is, like, her body's, like, bouncing, and there's, like, blood spurting. And it's just, like, it's gross. Like, the original the Samurai Showdown 2 games, the blood and the violence wasn't like that. It was very, like, wah, they're frozen.
Right.
Kind of things like that, right? And, they kind of did that with the look like Nakaruru, like it looks like she's stabbing someone.
Yes.
And she looks very upset about it, but then blood sprays on her, but you don't see her.
And she apologizes.
Yeah, and she like,
oh my god,
like that's cool. Like I like the stylisticness of that rather than just like blatantly hey, we have graphics now, let's like pull their intestines out.
No, I agree.
You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think I like that. So it looks like it's going the right way so far to me. So. Obviously, not much to say about it. It takes place before Samurai Showdown 2 in terms of the lore, with the years and all that stuff like that. I don't follow the lore enough in Samurai Showdown, so I don't know. So,
you know, which arcade was it? One of the Japanese arcades put out a long video of them playing Samurai Showdown. One?
Yeah. Oh, dang. So was it just tam? No,
it wasn't. It was all weird characters.
Oh, okay.
But that game was very... kind of one-dimensional, very weird game. Mm-hmm. Like,
when it came out, though, man, people were talking about that game. I don't know, because like it was such a different time back then to have something that could actually compete with Street Fighter 2 in terms of quality. I remember all of my friends were always just like, "Dude, you got to play this new game." I was like, "Whatever," and they're like, "You got to play this. It's so good. It's so good." And then eventually, I caught on in Samurai Showdown 2, but still.
Yeah. It wasn't Acho. It was the other one with a K. You know what I'm talking about?
Mikado?
No. Anyway, I tweeted about it even. Bummer. I'm trying to remember.
Well, apparently you can find it on David's timeline. So go to his timeline, go, and you can find it over there.
I did tweet it. Yeah, it was like Earthquake versus Kabuki Man. I don't remember their names. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Kyoshiro.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Kyoshiro.
And there's a Harumaru playing.
Koyoma? Is that what it is?
No, I'm looking it up.
Kyoshiro. I didn't know he was in Samurai Showdown 1. Okay.
It just seems so weird. Like, all the characters have these gigantic jumps.
Yeah.
And
See, I hope they keep stuff like that.
So everybody has an instant overhead, I guess, or those characters. They have these crazy jumps. Their buttons on the ground are really slow, but super damaging. So they're just like hopping around all the time because that's actually, even though they're huge jumps, that takes up less time than throwing out a button. It was super weird.
Yeah, for sure. So lots of little bits of information here. We've got like 15 minutes here. So let's talk about so have you looked into the Street Fighter V dojos yet? I don't know anything about it, but it looks like it's kind of very similar to the guild stuff that they did in Injustice.
Yeah, there are some similarities to that. You can also, you have a dojo where you can actually kind of customize it to some degree. You can like put your Twitch name on it.
You could recruit people to your dojo, right?
Yeah, I think that's really cool info.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to create an Ultra Chen dojo then.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
As well as a Chen Dynasty
Kohatsu
dojo.
is the name of the arcade. Kouhatsu. You can search on YouTube for that, and you can find the old Samurai Shodown video.
Yeah, so it's actually, that's right, they had the karaoke tournament this last weekend. Justin actually said he may fly me out next year for Wong Nation, jchensor, and he said I would win for free.
Are you the best at RPS?
At RP, well, no, it was karaoke tournament.
Oh, I think you're talking about Rock Paper Scissors.
No, there was a karaoke. The Daigo had his second. Harada was there singing, dude. It was actually cool. So, yeah, dude, all the big streamers were playing Tekken this past week. I gotta wonder if Bandai Namco just hit them all up and was like, play Tekken. Because a bunch of them were playing it. A bunch of guys were playing it. And the best part was I went into one of their streams to go watch it. The guy was getting really salty, turned off his camera, and was just like getting mad. And I was like, this is entertaining. See why people like watching me play.
Okay, there's some other news. Android 17 is coming out.
That's right.
For Dragon Ball FighterZ. Look.
I haven't seen anything about it yet.
I have. There's info about.
How does he look?
He looks more interesting than most to me.
Okay.
Look, my critique about the game is basically that everybody plays the same. Even characters who you look at them and you think, oh, this guy will play differently. Actually, he's just the same. He looks like he might have significant differences. He has like a kind of Black Panther style off-the-wall option. Rekka options that can be really varied. So his movement might actually be unique.
Okay.
And if that's the case, then I'll be really happy because I feel like it's rare that you see variety in terms of movement in that game.
Hey, Tetsuya, thanks for that. Woo!
Dang. Woo! Yeah, so I'm excited for that in that sense.
Okay, cool. I mean, like I said, I haven't paid attention to the 17 recently. So.
I don't dislike. It's not that I think DBFZ is a bad game.
Right.
For sure. I think it's a good game. Right. To be proactive about it. Obviously beautiful, and the gameplay is good. It's just, to me, doesn't have the variety that I look for. I mean, it reminds me of like in Season 5, SF5 Season 1, when that was my complaint about the game as well. Too many characters played too much the same. They released a bunch of other characters, so I don't feel that way anymore. But I do feel that way about it in Dragon Ball. I wish that would change. But they... it doesn't seem like that's changed for most. This guy, 17, seems like he could be really different.
I mean, I love... Someone asked me that exact question, what do you feel about Dragon Ball FighterZ? And I said, I don't think it's for me, personally. But I love there's a lot of players out there who are super passionate. It's like their favorite fighting game they've ever played, you know? And
which is fine.
I want it to become a staple. If it can become Dragon Ball FighterZ... 10 years from now when Dragon Ball FighterZ 3 is coming out and everyone gets super hype, like that'd be awesome.
Definitely agree with you.
Let's do that. So.
Yeah, it would be horrible to go back to the old days of other Dragon Ball games that are just kind of butts. Look, I don't feel that comparing Dragon Ball FighterZ to Marvel Infinite is necessary.
Right.
I think they're different games. Same with BB Tag. My own preferences are that I think that I would rank those games probably BB Tag, MvCI, DBFZ.
Okay.
But I don't think that they're the same kind of game.
Right.
Well, it's the same subgenre of fighting games. They're all versus games.
Yeah.
But they're very... Dragon Ball FighterZ is very different. Different enough that I don't feel there's any need to compare.
Well, they also announced that Street Fighter V CPT is going to be taking place at the Esports Arena in Luxor in Las Vegas this year. So Capcom Cup will be taking place there. Not at the Sony PlayStation Experience anymore. It's going to be taking place at the Esports Arena this year. So, I mean, it's easy for us. We all live so close to Vegas or whatever like that. Yeah. But I wonder if... I've seen some dissenting opinions on that and stuff like that. And I've been to the venue before. I don't know if it's going to be big enough.
Right. Honestly. I've never been there, but I've heard many people
I'm not sure if it's going to be big enough, but we'll see.
You think back to the first season when it was also at... Wait, no. Second season? When it was at Esports Arena?
Yeah.
The first day of it was at Esports Arena, and it just felt like it was weird. It was small or whatever.
Right.
I don't know, man. We'll see. There was also IPS Grand Finals were also announced. That's going to be in Chicago on November 13th. That'll be cool.
What do you think about this Street Fighter League, this Japan League 3v3 that was announced at Tokyo Game Show?
I think it's cool. I mean, I like team tournaments. Okay. I think that could be fun. I'm not a huge fan of the format where there are 3 players who are licensed and 3 players who are unlicensed on each team. But, you know, I just think the licenses are dumb.
Right.
So.
I mean, they actually announced, what was it? Which one was the one that joined Jespa? There was another game that joined it. I forgot which one it is.
Oh, I don't think I heard about that.
Do I have it here? I don't have it listed here, but I saw another game was joining them. It was the Arc Revo World Tour. That's what it was. The Arc Revo World Tour. So they're going to start trying to do licenses for their players. It sounds like too for the ArcSys games as well.
Well, that's to the extent that system exists,
right.
Which I don't like. Granting that, fine, cool.
Okay.
I'm glad because ArcSys games definitely should be among the games that are prioritized.
Okay.
If that needs to exist.
Other things that I really want to mention before we leave here. Obviously, a bunch of new costumes came out. The Darkstalkers costumes came out. I still think Manat Felicia is a waste. I think Ed Dimitri is a waste. I'm really not happy with those tie-ins, but because Felicia doing drills in the air, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it makes any sense to me. I would have rather if they made her BB Hood. Because at least BB Hood kind of prances a little bit, and instead of having a ball, it should have been a basket. She should have just hit you with the basket all day. I think that would have worked a little bit better. But
sure.
And then Dimitri, 100% should have been either Bison or like Ryu. Just make him Ryu because he throws fireballs already, right?
Okay.
He throws fireballs and does uppercuts. But the costumes are really well done. The models are super nicely done. The Mech Zangief that they're coming out with looks really nice.
I really like that one, yeah.
Yeah, too bad no one will play it.
Correct.
Couple of community things that I really want people to be aware of. NKI has made a new combo video.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet.
NKI has made a new Super Turbo combo video. It's NKI Volume 12. He's been making combo videos forever and ever and ever, and he has a new one that came out that is so sick. Like, and he always does a really good job. It's like very bare bones editing. It's one of the like very classic combo video, bare bones editing, but still synced to music and all this other stuff. Like, so definitely watch it when you have a chance to listen to it. So don't watch it in silence. Don't watch it because it'll do it some injustice. So also, Born Free is still doing interviews. He released one recently with what do you call it? Tom Cannon, and he talks about history.
Wasn't that a while ago?
Was it a while ago? Because I see everyone talk about it. Because he talked about like the birth of the nickname the Beast and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, which again, no surprise, came from Tragic. So because he said something about the Beast being unleashed. They've unleashed the Beast, and that's kind of where it came from. So, and of course, Street Fighter V coming to Japan arcades.
Oh yeah, I think that would have been big news a couple of years ago. From what I've heard, people in Japan are not bullish about the future of arcades there.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
But I think that I actually don't like it for the rest of the world's
Yeah. It's going to definitely hurt us a lot in that factor, but I think it's cool. Because
Japanese arcades are going to, just mill out good new players.
But it is definitely going to... build up a lot of that scene. And I think that's exciting for them because, they are trying to do a lot to build up the esports scene. You guys got guys like Momochi and Daigo really trying to promote that you can play games and do stuff in Japan. And I think having it in the arcades and allowing kids to have a chance to play the game, or people who don't have consoles to play the game and get good at it.
I like the idea of
it. So I'm actually really happy.
I hope that it won't be like in SF4 where the cabs were $1 billion and very few people got them outside of Japan.
Oh well, I mean, but the U.S. doesn't need them, right? Why does the U.S. care at this point? Just put up a TV and console and you're done, right?
Well, that's how in Japan's the same way, right?
Right, but the thing about it is, I feel like it's just not. It's just, you have to go out of your way to go one of those sessions, right? And then, like in Japan, it's just so natural for them to go to arcades, you know what I mean? So, but,
we'll see.
Couple of other things. Fighting Vipers is coming out on the PlayStation 4. like being re-released on there as part of Project Judge. And BlazBlue Central Fiction Special Edition is being released on the Nintendo Switch. Yes. Let's do more Nintendo Switch games. Yes, let's do more Nintendo Switch games. Pokken is receiving a balance patch.
Oh, dang, I didn't hear about this.
September 26th, tomorrow.
Oh, I gotta look it up.
Yeah, they're actually doing a balance patch, so I think it's actually cool. So, Inferno, I guess, was leaked as a character that can be unlocked in Soul Calibur 6 as a mimic character.
Okay.
So, mimic. I guess that means that they can play anybody. Is that the Mokojin of Soul Calibur?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. So I've read articles about how good Fighting Vipers 2 is.
Okay.
That's really fun. It was like their crazy version of... It was like their Darkstalkers to Street Fighter as Fighting Vipers is the Virtua Fighter. Like Virtua Fighter was very technical and all like very realistic, and then Fighting Vipers is like bouncing people off of walls and people are jumping all over. So yeah, I've actually heard it was really, really good. So.
Oh yeah, the Soul Calibur 6 beta this weekend. I'll definitely be playing it.
Okay.
Definitely be playing it.
Nintendo Switch online service has started. You need that, $20 for the year. Family plans out there, but you need that to play Smash Ultimate online.
Right.
So a lot of people are mad because they don't feel like they're getting anything out of it, but if that's money to help make sure that they can maintain their servers and have better quality servers, I mean, I think that's the thing that a lot of people are missing, is that the online might be a lot stronger if they have a dedicated service to that. That's why PlayStation eventually went from being free to having to pay money, because it was just costing them too much to maintain those servers. So I'm sure the same thing's going to happen when Smash Ultimate came out. If Smash Ultimate came out and no one was paying money for their servers, I bet you the whole thing would just like explode and fry like instantaneously and probably not work for like 6 months. You know what I mean? So with giving money to Nintendo might actually make it so that's a little better.
Yeah.
And then my last question to you.
Definitely is less than PS.
What do you want on the PlayStation Classic?
I never owned a PlayStation.
Really?
Yeah, I never owned a PlayStation. Okay. I didn't get a PlayStation at all until the end of PS2. So, whatever.
Okay. I want Final Fantasy Tactics, because I've never played that before, and I've been told I should play it. So if it comes out on that, I'll 100% stream that game.
Yeah, GoldenEye I would support.
People making that joke. I've seen other people make that joke.
Yeah. Look, I'm sorry I didn't have every console. No. I mean, we had like every Nintendo console. We had the Virtual Boy.
You had a Virtual Boy?
We still have it.
Dang! I've never played one of those. You got to bring it over one of these days. I've got to play the Virtual Boy.
We can do that.
I have to play the Virtual Boy.
But I never had a PlayStation until the end of PS2. So I don't know much about the games there.
Okay. But guys, sorry to do the rush towards the end. Following weeks, we probably won't have as many results to go through, so we'll be able to take our time a little bit more.
Yeah.
But Capcom Connect is starting right now.
Yeah.
So we are going to go ahead and...
Believe me, I was wearing glasses before that, all right?
I'm wearing glasses because of video games. I used to wear glasses because of video games.
You got the surgery.
Yeah.
No, I've been wearing them since I was 6, so it's not that.
Yeah. But Capcom Connect is starting right now, so
thanks for the sub.
Wesley.
Again, the gifts.
This is September. If you guys set your stuff to renew automatically, the next month will only be $1, so that would be very, very much appreciated. But Twitch.tv /Capcom Fighters. I'll do a host right now.
Do it.
But
Bird
like
me.
I said, next week, hopefully we won't have to rush through the end here. We'll be able to take our time and everything like that. We're going to work out this format. Don't worry. We'll get it going for you guys. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next week.
North Carolina barbecue's overrated.
Agreed.
Southern biscuits are overrated. No, not really.
Southern biscuits are
Not
pretty
really.
dang good.
Not really.
Pretty dang good.
Yeah.